and welcome to My Xbox and Me episode. Christian, update the doc.
I
429.
Okay, we're gonna argue about this right now before you get into it. I
Oh,
no
you
longer
did?
have the ability to change the name of the doc. I changed in the first line, like Despawn did last week. So one would assume when you make the mistake 1 week, the next week you would actually read it.
The one only
But I
two press
digress.
Kresh.
Go
Kresh,
back to
how
the
are you?
intro.
Kresh,
I'm
how
doing
are you?
good.
Kresh,
I'm
how are
doing
you?
good. I just woke up, so I might be a little bit on the cranky side.
I might be a bit grouchy, so everyone be careful, be ready. Got a spiky Kresh with us this week. He's just woken up. Episode 429. I'm one of your hosts, MC Fixer. We have the one and only Two Fresh Kresh. We have the one and only Mr. Paul Despawn. How are you?
I'm excited for a spicy Kresh. I'm not gonna lie.
I mean, he's always spicy.
True.
We've even moved the thing is we've even moved it back now, the podcast, to help him with sleep. And now
He
he's
just
just
sleeps
taking
more.
liberties. He's getting up
No,
more. He's getting more sleep. How dare he? How dare he get more sleep?
I woke up and it was like 6. I was like, I can lay down for a little bit longer. And it was 6:30. I was like, I have to do show notes. I have to take a shower real quick.
Fresh, hear me out. Hear me out. You know what you could do?
Yeah.
You could do the show notes throughout the week so you can sleep longer on the day.
Yeah, that's what? That's a really good
I'm
idea.
just putting it out there.
The problem is sometimes I see articles and I click on it to put into show notes and then I get distracted with other stuff and I close the website completely.
As someone who did the show notes for this show for like 6 years, I 100% understand. I used to do it all the time. Like, oh, that would be good for the podcast.
Yeah.
Reads the article, forgets to then put it
100%.
in the show notes. You're like, oh,
I don't even save the link to the article or
No.
anything. So when it comes to the show notes, I'm like struggling to find the article.
Scrambling to
Yeah.
find it. Yeah, I've been there. If you didn't know, this is My Xbox and Me, our weekly Xbox podcast. You can get it here on youtube.com/My Xbox and Me and all podcast services. Here's a question for everyone. Should we get rid of the rigmarole?
The
I've been
rigmarole?
doing that same rigmarole for a long time. I feel like if you're a new viewer, I think it's a good introduction. I think. But I saw a TikTok the other day, and you know what it's like with TikTok. They've all got different form of media. Let's be honest, a very different form of media.
Mhm.
And let me tell you all, there's a difference between a real podcast and a TikTok podcast. And you know exactly what I'm talking about. Those podcasts that look
Fake
like they're
podcasts.
podcasts, but they're not
Yeah.
actually. They're TikToks. Don't get confused, yeah? What we do is podcasting, all right? What they do is making TikToks, all right? I'm calling them out now. But I was thinking about it. It's like, do we get rid of the rigmarole? I don't know. Let us know in the Discord or in some way. Hit us up on Twitter or something. Anyway.
No, only the
you can get
Discord.
Okay, only Discord.
Yeah.
You can get the show earlier over on patreon.com/mcfixer. Find us on all podcast services and all that jazz. Shout out to Patreon producer this week, Erin God. Topic of the show, boys. It is finally here. I feel like it kind of snuck up on us in a way. I knew it was coming, but I went into the office a few times and was like, oh yeah, that's out now. Even when I got there that day, I was like, oh, how is everything? Everyone's like, yeah, we're happy. AC's out. And I'm like, yeah, he's out.
Oh,
yeah, he's out. I forgot. AC Mirage, Assassin's Creed Mirage is out. We are going to talk about our opinions on the game. I've seen reviews, sitting about 8. 8 is roughly where it's at.
Mhm.
I've played about 4 to 5 hours. Now, what I will say is 3 of those hours have been played. I've had to do 2 playthroughs, but the same thing. So I've seen the intro twice, and I've done a little bit more exploring. So I'll kick it to Kresh. We gave Kresh we didn't get codes straight away from UB, but we did get 1, so we gave that to Kresh. Kresh, how many hours in are you?
I'm about 8 or 9 hours into the game, which
Okay.
it's a relatively short game, so I feel like
Yeah.
I'm a good chunk through the game. But I have spent a good amount of time doing the contracts and some of the side content in the game.
Okay.
Yeah.
As our resident OG Assassin's Creed fan, I would say that's fair. I wouldn't say Odyssey wasn't your jam. Valhalla wasn't. Not that. Let me get there. Let me land. Not that you didn't like those games.
Yeah. Okay.
But to you, they are very different Assassin's Creed games than what you like from the franchise.
Yes, those were more like an open world RPG than
Mhm.
what I would call an Assassin's Creed game typically. But formulas change, games change, you know.
So I'll tell you what formula doesn't change is that's just Assassin's Creed Mirages. What do you think? What do you think of AC Mirage?
At first, me and you spoke about this briefly when we hopped on, played some Baldur's Gate, and I
Oh, don't get me started. You want to talk about Baldur's Gate? I'm
No,
ready.
No, we'll
You
talk
wanna
about it
talk
later.
about
We'll talk about it later.
Don't do it.
Okay. Sorry, my bad.
I did not enjoy the intro at all. I found it rough. I didn't like the Basim as a character. I didn't enjoy him in Valhalla, so I didn't enjoy him in this. I thought the introduction, the whole story and where they go with it, I think is very telltale, and you know it's coming from a mile away, and so it lessens the impact that intro should have. And it never really gets me invested into his character, into his journey and becoming an assassin, and so on and so forth. But once you finally get to Baghdad and you get to that first open area when you're riding on your horse or whatever, that's when
Camel.
the game
Your
finally starts clicking.
camel.
You're in a camel.
Camel.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
forgot. The first thing I did was I went and bought a horse. You could buy a horse. I
Oh,
went and bought
okay,
a horse.
okay,
Yeah.
fair enough.
But yeah, so the moment I get into that, the game starts like clicking with me. You're going around, you're seeing, oh, I can pickpocket people here, I can assassinate people there. There's a chest over there that's not part of any main objective, but I want to sneak my way in there and get it. And you start getting those main Assassin's Creed vibes, which I really, really dug at that point. And that's where I'm like, okay, this game jumped quite a bit for me from the original. I do think there's some gripes with it, but it comes at the cost of going back to a formula they haven't done in so long.
Yeah,
You got to
well,
go back to the roots and then adjust from there if they decide to do more games like this. I would say.
yeah. Let's hold there real quick, and then we can all sort of talk about the intro. Despawn, where are you at? How many hours in? How you thinking? What are you thinking of the game?
I think I'm about, I want to say maybe 4 or 5 hours in. I've done a lot of contracts and stuff as well. I've just like, I'm not, again, we're not going to do story spoilers today, but I've just done the first main target. So they are now dead. Me, like, I am, like, although I loved Odyssey, I think Odyssey was one of my favorite games of all time. When it comes to Assassin's Creed in general, the early ones are my favorites, like the Ezio trilogy is a standout example of that. But yeah, this definitely feels like a harkening back to that, like it is a reset of the entire thing. In so much as, yeah, like this game is just like, it punishes you for trying to do an action like combat game. It is a full-on stealth game, and I personally love that. I love a good stealth game. Like, I will always try stealth first in any game I can. And yeah, I love what they're doing with that. It feels like everything is a bit more methodical in your approach to every mission. Again, I've not got into the later missions, so I don't know how formulaic it is for each of those. But right now, for what I'm doing, I'm enjoying the process of scoping out an area, finding ways to pull out a target, make them vulnerable and take them out. And I've just got to the point where I'm starting to unlock some of the better abilities, and playing with those a bit more is a lot more fun. And yeah, so far I'm loving what I'm seeing from the game. I just hope that there's more unique approaches to some of the missions later on, because if it is as formulaic as like this first mission as being, then I'm going to be slightly disappointed, and can see probably why it's going to get those 8s and 7s from people. I will say one thing: the game is beautiful.
Yeah,
like I think absolutely go, like, when you say that point where you first load back into Baghdad, and you see the city in front of you. You're in the middle of the desert on your camel, not a horse. Camel. It's camel. Yeah, and you see the city, and then you spin the camera around. You do that classic game trailer pivot around the character, and you just see the world around you, and it's just, oh man. What Ubisoft have done here is they've created art in the graphics. I just hope that the rest of the game combat-wise matches up to it.
Yeah, so again, take everything I say with a pinch of salt, blah 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 blah, sponsored stream, blah 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 blah. I really enjoyed. I really hashtag ad, hashtag gifted, hashtag all that rubbish. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the opening. Obviously a lot more than Kresh. I liked seeing. I liked the game opening with no. It's very clear they do not want you to be in combat.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, it's very clear. It's like, this is a stealth game, play it as such. Like, from the opening, I play the games. We all know stealth is not my forte. So I'm literally getting into fights and I'm like, why do I have a weapon? Where's my weapon? Like, what? And it's like, well, he doesn't have a weapon yet. Like, he's not a killer. Yeah. And that's kind of what I liked about it. I like the story they are telling already in the opening of this game. Again, I haven't done any contracts. I play Assassin's Creed games very differently, probably to a lot of people. I very much get through the tutorial, and then I want, especially in these old school AC games, get through the tutorial. Then I want every fast travel point I can get. as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
That's how I do it. I've always done it like that. Bit different for the RPG ones, because obviously you get leveled out of certain areas, and trying to get to fast travel points can be a pain in the butt cheeks. But yeah, for me, the thing that confuses me is other people's opinions on this game. I'm not talking about reviewers, whatever. It's a lot of people. Again, I'm streaming it for thousands of people over on the Twitch channel, right? And I see a lot of comments like, "Oh, it looks like old school AC," and some people are saying that for negative, and some people are saying that for better. To me, it's like, you know what you're getting with this game as soon as you start it. Like, even down to, I get what you're saying, Despawn, about the formulaic mission structure. That's what people wanted. Like, for better or worse, the one thing that I can't stand is when a game company does the thing that a large portion of their audience wants them to do, and yet then they still complain about it afterwards, which is, I've seen some reviews of like, AC Mirage is great, it goes back to its old school, but it doesn't change the formula. Yeah, no shit, it doesn't change the formula. That's why they went back. They changed the formula, and they've won, and their core, they say, because it's still a mega popular like game, Valhalla and all those.
Yeah.
They changed the formula. People were like, "Hey, we don't want this formula change all of the time. We want it, but we don't want it all of the time." They go back to the old formula, and then people are still complaining. It's like, they can't win.
Again, I guess it depends on who you're asking. Like, if it's the people that love that new formula, like the open world RPG, and then you go back to a formula that is basically 20 years old at this point.
Yes.
Some people are gonna be like, it's a bit dated, but like for me, I'm here for it. I'm an old gamer, so I'm like, this is what I remember Assassin's Creed being, and I love it.
To me, it feels dated.
It's a positive. Yeah.
To me, it feels dated, but I knew what I was getting myself in for.
Yeah.
It's like when I play Daymare. I don't know if you know what Daymare is. Survival horror game. It's on Xbox. They just put out the sequel, right? Like, that game is dated. It feels dated because it's a survival horror game that is akin to Resident Evil 2 OG, like with prettier graphics and things like that. If you know what you're going into, why do you then critique it for doing the things that it said on the tin it was going to do?
Yeah, I think it's one of those cases where, like, if they continue to do the more stealthier versions of Assassin's Creed games, there should be some shakeup to the formula.
Absolutely.
But when you're going back to something you haven't done, I don't think you go back and like, hey, we're going back to the stealth form, but we're also adding all these changes that we don't know how they'll add up, right?
Yeah.
Because you're not really going back to what it was. You're trying something new at that point. And that's
Yeah.
never what they said they were doing. That's never what their goal was. So I think with what they had in mind, the average being around 8 for review scores is actually very solid for the game.
Oh, I agree.
Right?
8 is a good score. I know everyone's like, everything needs to be a 10 or a 9. It's like, no, 8 is a very good score. That's a great game. And I think Assassin's Creed Mirage is a great game. I just want to come back to a point that I said, like, we're talking about the formulaic. Like, I don't mean like the structure and like, you know, you do your missions, you unlock, I guess, evidence about who is the next target and things like that.
Yeah.
I love that. That is perfect. What I mean is like when you figure out the end target and then you go to kill them, like, I hope the way that you do that, like, I don't know how much I can say, but basically the first one that I came across, you have to create a distraction to get the target to come out on a balcony where you can then kill them. I hope that's not the same every time. I hope I hope there's like the next mission is like I have to sneak into an area and kill him without being spotted, or I need to basically assassinate them when they're walking through a village, that kind of thing. I hope that the end mission is different enough for it to be interesting. Okay.
It's not the same thing every time.
Good. Okay, cool.
I don't know how much I would say that it's super diverse, but it's not sort of like the same thing over and over. So I think you'll be satisfied with that.
Yeah, that's literally like that's when I said that was the only issue.
I know what you mean.
The potential issue that I could come up against.
I'm not really against you. It's more other people.
I get it.
I'm seeing people, especially on Twitter and stuff. I'm like, guys, I don't get it. Like, this game is an old school AC game where it's prettier than old school AC games. It can, in my opinion, controls a lot better than old school AC games.
Well, one thing that I'm going to disagree on the controlling better, parkour.
Oh, I think parkour controls better than
parkour is fine. No,
no.
not Unity.
No, okay, yep. See, this is
Oh,
this
you're
is what I
talking
was about to
old
say.
school.
I'm
Old school.
literally talking
Got it.
AC1, AC2.
Got it.
Mhm.
That's fair. Yeah. No, it absolutely everything controls better
Yeah.
in those games. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
because that's kind of what I'm not comparing it to Unity. I'm not comparing it to Brotherhood. I'm not comparing it to Black Flag. I'm literally comparing it to when I say in my head, when I say old school, I do think AC1, AC2. I didn't play 3 in the end, so I can't talk about that one. But
Yeah.
that's what I'm comparing it to, right? Because that's to me, that's what they're going back to. And again, this is the thing. Assassin's Creed it's such a huge IP, right? It's such a huge property. It's like Resident Evil in a way where there's so many games. There's been spin-off games. There's been whatever. It's like, okay, well, you're not gonna please everyone.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to just playing the game. I'm so happy. I'm hearing playtime. You're looking at like 20 hours, and I'm like, yes,
That's what I want.
Yeah.
please, thank you.
Yeah.
I will take that. 100%. I'm going to be able to finish this before the end of the year, no problem.
Yeah. Especially
So
when I
looking
look
forward
at
to that.
my Odyssey playthrough, and I think that because I 100%ed like all the achievements and everything, 200 hours plus.
Ooh.
And I'm like, yeah, I don't need that from another Assassin's Creed for a while. Thank you very much.
Did you play Valhalla Despawn?
I played some of it, but again, it was very much a case of I'd come off Odyssey, Valhalla dropped. I was like, there's too much here. There's just too
We'll
much
do
for
it
me.
again.
Yeah,
See the
I don't have the time. And this is
It is.
yeah. So I think Odyssey was before I went full on in creation, like content creation, and then Valhalla dropped in the middle of it. I was like, before I might have had 200 hours to play a game. Right now, I'm just like, absolutely not. No, just no.
I played
Maybe
that
I'll go
intro
back.
like 4 times. It's
Mhm.
like, oh god, please
Yeah.
don't make me play that intro ever
for
again.
Valhalla.
Valhalla, yeah.
I liked Valhalla. Valhalla was a good game.
Yeah,
I agree.
100%.
It
After
seemed good.
Odyssey, it was just a little bit too much, and
Yeah.
not in a negative way, because I know
No.
some people have spent.
That's their favorite game.
That's the only game they played. It was sort of the Skyrim effect with Odyssey and Valhalla for some people, where it's like that's all they would play.
Mm.
I had one friend who, over the course of like 2 years, that's literally if he was playing a single player game, he was playing Odyssey,
Mhm.
which is
Yeah.
kind of crazy to think about in retrospect.
It was a big game. There's a lot to do.
Very big, yeah.
Well, yeah. No, I'd like them to do like the kind of like flip flop between like a big one and then a Mirage, like a Valhalla,
Agree.
then a Mirage, another Valhalla, like Odyssey, then a Mirage.
I don't even think it needs to be like 1-to-1. Just throw
No.
a couple of stealth ones
Yeah.
every once in a while when it makes sense for a character they have in a world and a setting, right?
Right, yeah. Well, we know we know for a fact the next 2 games that are coming, which is Codename Red and Hex. And I think one of those is supposed to be like a fully fledged massive title, similar to
Yeah,
the
Red
Timecodes
is-
of Red would be the Red's
Yeah,
going
'cause
to be
it's the Japanese
the
one.
Japanese one. Yeah, so assuming
then-
that's going to be the massive one, and the Hex is the kind of Salem Witch Trials.
We
Yes.
don't even know what style of game that is.
Yeah.
we have no clue.
I think they've hinted that it's like a different approach to
Mhm.
Assassin's Creed, which means it could be literally anything. 'Cause
Give me a
Assassin's Creed,
Telltale style game, baby. I would take it.
No.
I
I
would
think you're gonna
take
get.
it.
I think you're gonna get like some sort of survival horror game with it.
Yeah, and then they're going to go definitely like more into the horror elements.
I like
I don't think you
survival
get
horror,
it.
but
I don't
Yeah.
think you get a Telltale type of game from them, because I don't think it
No,
fits,
me
because they're
either.
telling like this bigger narrative constantly, even though I think the bigger narrative is always irrelevant, if I'm gonna be honest. Not a big fan.
damn, hot take. He did just wake up.
I don't think it's a hot take.
Sure,
The whole
sure.
Okay,
the whole
I'm not
alien
arguing with him.
aspect.
he's very spicy.
The whole alien aspect.
Anyway, we're not going against Kresh today, all right? Don't
No,
worry,
no.
whatever he says, all right?
Crash wins.
But yeah, overall, from again, we'll talk about it again next week, obviously. But overall, I like the game. If someone says to me, should I pick up the game? I think so. I think it's priced appropriately as well. Because I think
Yeah.
it's a little bit cheaper.
50, I think.
Yeah, I
instead of
think so.
70.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Yeah, like I think if you enjoy Assassin's Creed, you are going to enjoy this game, especially if you enjoyed the OG Assassin's Creed games. I think you're going to enjoy this game just from a, again, world building perspective. Like I really like the history stuff they've done in this one, where it's like it's not shoved down your throat, and it's a case of it's an additional.
Mhm.
You know, you get the gamified moment of like collect the thing, but there's also that information there for people that want to dive in deeper and learn something. Which again, I always walk away from an Assassin's Creed game having learned something.
Yeah.
Also, by the way, did you know it's illegal to climb the pyramids in
What?
Egypt?
yeah.
Yeah, didn't know that. Just admitted that on the UB stream. openly was like, yeah, went to Egypt, climbed the pyramid. They're like, ain't that illegal? I'm like, psh, allegedly, I climbed the pyramid.
I don't think it was illegal when you climbed it, if I'm gonna be honest.
No,
I think that's
everyone was doing it. Everybody was doing it when I
Yeah.
was there. So like, there was police there and no one stopped us. So
If
Yeah, I
clearly
don't
what
think
I
it
was doing wasn't wrong.
yeah, if I
I'm
remember,
pretty sure
I'm-
it wasn't illegal when you're
yeah,
climbing
I'm
the
pretty sure
pyramid.
it's only illegal if you get caught. So and allegedly you did it. So there's no proof that you did it. Yeah, yeah.
Allegedly.
Oh.
Definitely isn't photos on my face.
Oh, that was just Fixer the streamer like putting on
Yeah.
the front.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
entertainment. It was all entertainment.
Yeah, yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I was vlogging.
Yeah.
You know, call me.
Yeah.
I was definitely one of those IRL streamers that was logging it the whole time. 100%. 100%.
The words and thoughts of MC Fixer cannot be used as factual evidence in a court of law.
That's facts. Anything else to add that we haven't spoken about? I do feel like next week, probably most of us will have it either beaten or close to have beaten.
yeah.
So be able
I'm
to say
100%
more,
going
but
to
yeah.
try, yeah.
Some more thoughts, but I think I'll save them for next week to see
Yeah.
Okay.
how they line up with the rest of the game. Because the thoughts are kind of complaints, but I'd rather not get into those.
Well,
until-
what are they? Well, have you got something simple?
Yeah, I mean, combat. I don't think the combat is that good, if I'm being honest.
Okay.
I think that's
I agree.
intentional in my eyes. Like,
I think it is them going back
Yeah.
to like that old school style. I just don't think it really works.
yeah, it is very just like a hack
necessarily.
and slash.
Because
And you don't seem to do a lot of damage when you do it. But again, like I say, I think that's intentional. I think the
Yeah.
idea is
Well-
going to combat as a last resort, and it's not
Yeah.
like the go-to.
And Basim's a pussy.
Big pussy.
Not gonna disagree, but I think it's also like the leftovers of this originally being a Valhalla DLC as well, because the combat is very much so
Mm.
the locking onto enemies and circling them. That's all that Valhalla Odyssey Origins type of combat. So I would hope for the next game they do go in a different route for that, but who knows? And the second one is the parkour, which I don't think for a game that's so focused on like that old Assassin's Creed feel, I think it immediately feels dated to me, because when I'm thinking old school Assassin's Creed, like you went to one, my mind went to Unity, right?
That's fair.
Where I'm thinking of that sort of, where Unity I think had the perfect parkour. Unfortunately, Unity had a whole bunch of other issues that made them go as far away from that game as possible.
Yeah.
But I think those are the main two things. And the story I'm not super big on, but I don't like the main character, so not
Doesn't
a
help.
big shocker. I do like the setting. I do like the exploration of Baghdad and stuff like that. I think that's all very dope, which, like you said, Assassin's Creed generally does very, very well.
I like the combat and the new token system that they've got going on in there. I think that really works really well. The way that you can basically change your process into getting into areas depending on how many tokens you've got and things like that. You can bribe people to like be a distraction. I think that's really cool. And I think I'm interested. Like I said, I'm just interested to get like more upgrades out of the game and like be able to do some of these chain assassinations and things like that.
Fair enough, boys. Fair enough. Let's jump into what's been in our box. Despawn, other than AC Mirage, you been playing anything else?
No.
You played Cyberpunk, no?
Oh yes, I did on last week. Yeah, last weekend I played a bit more. Well, I've not played any since then, but yeah. So I restarted the game. I did the maid again. Can we talk spoilers for Cyberpunk at this point? Like the game's been out long
No.
enough. No, okay,
Fix
Yeah.
hasn't played it, and Fix might play it.
that's
I
fair.
might.
Yeah, okay, you
That's
should.
enough for me.
You should.
And like,
Okay,
Yeah,
so
the main reason I'll say no, even out of my selfishness, I feel like there's still enough people that are going to have heard about the update
mhm.
and go, do you know what? Now is the time to give it a chance.
Okay,
So I would say hold off a little bit longer.
no, that's fair. Let's just say I've got to the main story switch. Where
you finished Act 1.
Yeah, I finished Act 1. There you go, that'll do. So I finished Act 1. Not got any of the Phantom Liberty stuff unlocked yet, so I've not seen any of the new DLC.
You don't.
But and you don't get to it for a while, I don't think.
You don't get until you get to the Voodoo Boy area.
Okay, yeah,
So
that
when
makes
you're in
sense.
Pacifica or
Dogtown,
whatever, that's
yeah,
when
yeah,
you start
Pacifica, yeah. No, that makes sense. But yeah, so I'm very excited to get to that at some point. I'm hoping to play more of it this afternoon. But the 2.0 stuff is very good. The game looks just as beautiful as ever. Not seen a sign of a bug in sight. I'm playing on Steam on PC, obviously. So yeah, it's gorgeous. warning that ray tracing will tank your PC, so don't try and stream it with ray tracing like I did.
Okay.
But yeah, it is. Yeah, it's just. I always loved Cyberpunk. I think it was a fantastic game with its own issues. But yeah, I absolutely adored what I've seen of it so far. I think they've done a fantastic job. It is a shame it took this long to get to this point, and then we're not getting any more from this game. We have to wait for a sequel now, which hopefully won't be another 7 years. But yeah, we'll see. But yeah, no, I'm really enjoying it. I'm looking forward to getting into it more and like unlocking some more of the new skill systems and seeing how they play. And yeah, see if I can.
Do you know what type of build you're going to be going for?
Yeah, so I'm going for a stealth netrunner build, so just hacking and sneaking all the way. I love, again, like I said with this AC, I love stealth.
I've played through most of the game twice, and both times I've done a hacking stealth runner build, and I was like, I'm not doing it this time. Like all the combat stuff's too good. I gotta try something in. So I'm just running into places and just killing people this time.
Yeah. I mean, again, and the combat is so good, but it's just my playstyle. I just love stealthing my way through an area.
I don't have the build for it, and I've gone through certain areas where I'll still just like habitually go into that stealth mode and stealth out a whole area. And I'm like, I picked all the abilities not to go stealth, but I still stealth.
You just the sneakiest tank you've ever seen.
Have you beat the DLC yet, Kresh?
No, I'm not even. I'm trying to. I think I mentioned.
You're doing a fresh run, right?
Yeah.
Gotcha. I think it is the recommended way to do it. So, but you can do it if you want to just skip straight to it. But
yeah,
I really
do let you,
yeah, they do let you if you want to. But I'm no, I want to get the full experience again. See how they've changed missions and like. I'm interested to see how like the new combat elements work on missions I've already done. So there's car combat now in there.
They don't.
Do they not?
The old missions don't add. Like it feels very awkward when you're doing something like the car combat and stuff like that.
Right.
And then you get to missions that have you getting chased and stuff like that. And there's just no car comp. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Okay. That's a shame. But again, I guess it makes sense. Like there might be too much to change for the last ditch effort, but yeah, we'll see. But yeah, I'm still interested to play with like some of the actual combat mechanics and see how they play out.
Fair enough. I guess I'll talk because we're just talking about Cyberpunk. I played Resident Evil 4 Remake again. But I played the Separate Ways DLC, and I am very happy to report that I was 100% wrong about everything I said prior, and that's why stupid idiots on the internet, me included, shouldn't speak before playing things, and we shouldn't assume there's always evil intent in everything, you know? And I think that's kind of where, not in a evil way, but like that's kind of where I was at with Capcom, where I was like, oh, this should be free. How dare they? Blah, 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 blah. I was so wrong. Separate Ways DLC, it cost me £10 to buy it. I think it cost me $7.99. I think it was $10. And I think it might be the best piece of DLC that I've ever played in a video game.
Okay.
To date. I was really, really, really shocked. I obviously played through Resident Evil 4 Remake, enjoyed it. I wouldn't say it wasn't my favorite survival horror experience that I had this year because Dead Space came out as well, and that was super fresh to me. But this DLC reminded me of how much I love Resident Evil as a series, which is amazing because again, I'm not the biggest Resident Evil 4 guy. And it has me super, super, super not optimistic about the future of Resident Evil going forward. Probably because I got to see Wesker in this new engine and new voice actor and all that stuff, which is amazing.
If they go through, because was Wesker in the original Resident Evil 4?
Yeah.
Oh, he was. Okay.
Yeah, but I'm getting there. So that's the point. Like, he's in it, but he's just the guy in the chair. So you don't really see too much of him during this. In the OG game, you don't see too much of him during the DLC. Where in this, he's where he should be in the right moments. Right. I'll say that. Like, there's certain moments in this where you're like, back in the day, where you're like, well, Aiden would just be like, all right, cool, I'm not doing this. See ya. Like, and in this, it's kind of like, it makes sense why she carries on doing what she's doing. Okay. There's certain moments that are not in Resident Evil 4. That were cut from the game that you were like, oh, okay, kind of kind of an interesting choice that it got cut. I wonder why. You know, not that it doesn't make it still a great game, and obviously it's a remake, so they're gonna change things how they please.
Yeah.
And then all of those moments end up in this DLC.
Awesome.
Which again, I'm not going to spoil it for people who don't know, but there's just certain moments that you're like, oh, that wasn't here. And then like you end up getting in this moment, you're like, oh, it's here. And then that's here. And that's it. And you're like, oh shit, okay. Like, it's like one of those Capcom moments where you're like, oh, thought you screwed us, but you didn't. It's kind of what I wanted with Resident Evil 3, I guess. Where I was like, all the moments that weren't in Resident Evil 3, I feel that they learnt with Resident Evil 4, where they were like, people really got on there when we didn't have the clock tower, even though the clock tower area sucks, but like we didn't have the clock tower, we didn't have the flower fight. Which again, I'm calling it a flower because that's what I called it as a kid. I know there's a proper name, don't come for me. It's like they learnt from that with Resident Evil 4 remake and was like, okay, all the moments, the big moments that we're cutting from the base game here, we're gonna add into this DLC, and it's going to make sense. Which was the main thing. Ada's a great character. Her combat is amazing. I've always been against the melee stuff in Resident Evil games. I've always been like, oh, it sucks. I don't really like it. It doesn't feel right. Obviously, it got brought in during Resident Evil 5. And I was a bit like, oh no, 4 technically.
Oh yeah, I'm like
4. It was
suplex.
4,
Yeah.
That's what I say. It is 4. It was brought in 4. Sorry. But with Ada, that she's got a grappling hook, so now she can grapple to the enemies, and she does like different move sets and stuff like that.
Nice.
It is utilized in such a cool way that makes perfect sense for her character. That you're like the whole time when you're doing it, like, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. And it's just like, it's nice to have a Resident Evil game. It's nice to have a Resident Evil. This is going to sound very crazy for what it is, but it's nice to have like 2, 3, 4, and then the DLC now where it's like, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Where like before, I know makes sense in this world. Again, there's still Resident Evil. There's still things that don't make sense. But yeah, really, really, really impressed. It took me around 6 hours to beat.
That's good.
But I didn't even do, like the separate objectives they have, where it's like find all the medallions, find all the rats, do all the extra stuff they added. I didn't even do all of that in this playthrough.
Yeah.
So I'm sure I could have got 8 to 10 hours out of it probably if I wanted to.
That's pretty damn good.
Maybe a little bit less. Maybe I'm being a bit too hyperbolic with that. But yeah, really, really, really enjoyed it. It's made my overall experience with Resident Evil 4 much more pleasant than just the original playthrough.
Yeah,
which is nice. Which is nice. They did a really good job.
So I have the DLC. I've not started it yet, but everything you've just said makes me like excited to finally jump into it. So,
I think you'll really like it.
I've got to find the time. Like I enjoyed 4. 4 was a weird one for me. Like I enjoyed what they did. Like it was nice going back to that story. But once I'd finished once I rolled credits, like I don't need to play that again. I'm good.
No.
But
I think the problem with 4 is, for me, probably, I don't know about it for you, but especially for me, it was a case of like I'd beaten that story so many times. I've beaten that game so many times. So even when a remake came and it was different, but it just wasn't different enough for me not to need to do this story again. Like to me, it wasn't. Again, I've beaten Resident Evil 2 OG millions of times, right? But that story was so different and it looked so different that it felt so fresh. Where 4, it wasn't so different and it wasn't so fresh because again, the graphical jump wasn't as crazy as well. I think you're sort of like, I don't need to do this again.
Yeah,
but
I think
DLC you want to, trust me. I want to play through it again already.
Yeah. I think, like I say, I think for me, it's like there wasn't enough uniqueness in 4 remake compared to 4. It was very much like taking all the bells and whistles that they've got from doing all these remakes and retelling that story, but there wasn't enough change. And like you say, there was some cut content where it made sense. And like I said, it never felt disjointed. The story always felt great, but it was definitely the story. Like I knew which area was coming up next. I knew which fight I was going to get into. I knew the lines that were going to come.
Yep.
Even though performed perfectly by the new voice actors, I think I knew exactly what game I was getting into when I went in there. So I'm interested to jump into Separate Ways DLC and see like what they've done with that compared to the original. And yeah, it sounds like it's going to be a good time. So I'm very excited.
Oh, you're gonna love it. You're gonna
Can't
love
wait.
it.
I got a question. Does this
Yeah.
make the boys excited for Resident Evil 5 remake?
Kinda.
Yeah.
It-
I mean, from what you've said, like with the fact that, like, with again, we won't talk about it too much, but with Wesker being more
Yeah.
of a prominent part of the DLC, I'm interested to see how that's going to play out in 5. If they do the 5, if they do a 5, which I'm sure they will. It's money on the table, right? They're
they
going to
have
take
to
it.
do 5.
Yeah, yeah.
The thing is, the thing is, I hope they have the bottle to just go, yeah, we're redoing 5.
Mhm.
No co-op.
Could they? So you don't want to play it with me, Fix?
No, I don't.
That's messed up.
I don't want
That's
to play
messed
Resident. I
up.
don't want to play Resident Evil.
Resident
with
Evil's,
anybody.
yeah.
That's messed up. Could they keep the narrative that is in 5 and just adjust it slightly?
It's just
Or do they have to, like,
Ouroboros, man.
redo it?
Ouroboros is just such a dead virus as a
Mm.
whole. It
But,
really is. Like, I think you've got a good. The crux is there, right? Africa works. Some sort of maybe even
So-
keeping Ouroboros, but just making it a little bit better of a
Mhm.
virus.
What isn't good about Ouroboros?
So I personally don't like the way that the mutations of Ouroboros in Africa just to me doesn't work. I don't feel like I'm fighting that opening section, right? You're just fighting a bunch of humans. It
Mhm.
doesn't feel like you're
Mm.
fighting a bunch of infected humans. It just feels like a bunch of humans.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean by that opening area, the whole opening area
Yeah,
when,
yeah.
when
Just a
it first
bunch of-
opens.
Bunch of humans with pink eye. That's all it is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then as you go through, you get to the army section. They're shooting guns at you. And then
Mhm.
it's a bunch of humans. Because that's what
Mm.
Ouroboros virus is it?
So-
Again. And this game does a really good job of hinting towards that as well, by the way, the DLC.
Okay.
So if they change that and they make it less gun oriented and more zombie like, I guess, without it
It's not
obviously
even got to be
zombies.
zombies. It's just, just
Yeah.
in like. I just think if they make that virus I feel like they're going to, because again, maybe I just haven't played Resident Evil 4 separate ways in such a long time, but there was stuff that was in this that I was like, I don't know what that means. And I don't remember this. And I don't know if that was because it was new or it's because I've forgotten. Because again, you got to remember, Resident Evil 4 is not the game that I play all the time either. So there was a few hints towards it. It just needs to be more fun, Kresh. Like the whole part of Africa, it felt like they played into African tropes a lot with the Ouroboros virus. You know, there's that whole section when you're going through on the boat and then they're shooting you with bow and arrows and
Mhm.
crossbow. And it's like, all right, cool. It
yeah.
feels very tropey. It doesn't feel like it felt like it was like, okay, we're choosing Africa. What's African and what can we make work in this world? That's what it feels like to me when I play Resident Evil 5.
Yeah.
And then there's a couple. The Ouroboros monster, like the big black monster, the the one with the big orange
I know exactly what you mean.
weak points. Like there's a couple of fights there that are fine, but
Mhm.
it does just feel like a blob that you're fighting. It doesn't feel. It just isn't great. But I do think a remake of 5 could be good. But I want them to have the bottle to go. All right. We don't need to make. I want them to go. We're keeping Africa. We're keeping Wesker. Everything else is up for grabs.
Yeah.
What about, do you need Chris punching a boulder?
Yes.
100% you do.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Of
I mean,
course, of course.
That's
you
an
need it.
I will say,
iconic moment. You need that.
But the funny thing is, though, they can do that now way smarter.
Yeah.
And that's kind of
They-
what they did with this Separate Ways DLC.
Yeah.
There's moments where you're like, how does Ada work that out? And in this is like, she's got like, I guess a spoiler, you've seen it in the trailer. She's got contacts.
Mhm.
So she has this whole tracking system so she can see footprints. And it's like, if they could do something with Chris where something drops out the sky and he could put on these gloves that help him punch this boulder, I would love that personally.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
just
this is
make it
where-
make sense.
This is where Microsoft has a crossover with Capcom, and you get
Oh.
the what's the game? The Crackdown armor.
Mhm.
Chris is gonna start rocking the Crackdown armor and just being superhuman.
I'm down with that. It makes more
I'd be
sense than him
I'd
just
be
being
fine with
able to. Yeah. Yeah. I'd be totally fine with that. Makes more sense than just being like, yeah, I can totally pick up a boulder and chuck it.
Yeah. No, exactly. But no, I do. After this, I am actually like, okay, they can actually do 5,
Mm-hmm.
but they
Should
have to be brave. They have to be
I-
brave.
I want them to be brave and keep the co-op and make it good.
They will. By the way, they will keep it co-op.
Yeah,
There's no
I
way
think
they take
so.
co-op away from that. Yeah.
What I would say is if they can keep the co-op, that's fine. Make the AI solo good. The AI was terrible in 5.
AI sucked.
Yeah. Make that good, and that's fine by me. Like, you can have your
I
co-op if
think
you want.
get rid of the whole you walk up to a door and you have to wait for the partner to come.
Yeah, yeah.
They played into that stuff so much. Like, look,
I think that was all
I feel
loading
like-
screens.
Yeah.
no,
Actually, no.
Yeah,
'Cause,
I don't think so. I personally don't
think
think so.
No.
It's just the way they designed their co-op, which was very much like we're making
Oh,
this.
let's do it together.
Yeah, everything has to be done together. It's
Yeah.
like, look, I don't care for that. Like,
Yeah.
if you're back there picking up boxes, let me go through this door and shoot the rest of these motherfuckers. Like,
Mhm.
that's your problem. I feel
That's
like
fair.
what they need to do is make the second player. Look, I hate to say it, but Shiver's already forgettable, unfortunately. Without like, the main character is the main character. If you want to
Mhm.
progress with the main character, keep going. Like, I don't know. There's something about it that just jars me.
Player
don't
2
like
should be
co-op.
beholden to what player 1 wants to do, basically.
Yeah, unfortunately. Yeah.
I get that.
But yeah, there's a. Oh, by the way, I said like keep Africa, keep Wesker, keep Jill because I like Jill stuff in 5. So I mean, like you got Jill, Chris. You've got a group of characters there that are there's enough there. Plus, think about it, you got the DLC they didn't have in 5. They can open with that now. If they added the DLC, which was some of the best DLC as well. Now I think about it, Resident Evil's had some really good DLC. Which is I never thought about it, but they have. They've had some really good DLC. Even the Not a Hero DLC in 7 was pretty decent. Yeah, if I might have to do a video on that one day. But yeah, I guess I'll stop talking about that. But that was that, and then I've been playing FIFA, which no one cares, and then I've been playing Baldur's Gate with Kresh and Haley, and it's the best game ever made.
I think we've
It's
heard
very
that one.
fun.
Yeah.
By the time I finish this game, which won't be this year, by the way, in any way, shape, or form, we're like 20 hours in, and I don't see how this won't
Still.
be. I don't see how this won't be in my top 3 games of all time.
Yeah.
I get that.
Like,
It's very, very good. And Fix just messes up all his rolls. It just makes everything explode. It was really weird.
I don't want to. You guys don't even. I'm so again. I know
Oh,
we were
man.
saying before the podcast. It's funny. I know we're not streaming it, but watching the way me, Kresh, and Haley play this game is just. Kresh is just
It's
the biggest
jokes.
troll on God's given earth.
It's so jokes.
And
It's not.
it's-
The thing is, it's not on purpose.
No, I know.
don't do it on purpose.
So again, we didn't save it in the end, but we were playing the other day and we let one of our main characters run off, and we went and did something else. Kresh joined us midway through. Kresh turns up. He's like, "Where's Lazard or whatever her name is?"
Yeah.
Yeah. Kresh like, "Where is she?" I'm like, "Oh, she ran off. We didn't care. We left her." We go back to the area she's at. She's just on the ground dead.
Oh, I know exactly where you're talking about because that happened to me in my playthrough.
And I'm like, oh shit, she's dead. We end up trying to take that fight, dying, so she's back with us now. Otherwise, that bitch was staying dead. I ain't gonna lie. I don't like her. But you've got me not liking her, Haley not liking her, Kresh is screaming in the background, why don't you like her? Then we're talking about Shadowheart, and Kresh is like, she's this, she's that, how dare you? And I'm like, bruh, she's with us, we rate her. And Kresh is like,
Yeah.
no. And yeah, it's just, there's so many moments in this game that, again, we are not even doing the main quests. Like, we're literally just going off, and it's a Kresh, we're gonna jump on for an hour. You want to jump in? Sure. It's an hour campaign of D&D. If you've ever played D&D before or know about D&D, that's what this is.
The main quest is honestly probably the most boring thing about the game.
Yeah,
And that's
makes
not
sense.
a negative because the main quest is interesting enough to get you like moving along.
Yeah.
It's all the side stuff. Like when one of your companions, like when they're tied to main quest, the main quest becomes interesting. Once they're out of it, it's like, okay, it's a main quest now. It's whatever. They do such a good job with all the characters and the storylines you interact with, whether how big or small they are.
I went to this mushroom place, bunch of mushroom guys. This woman's like, yo, my husband's gone out there. And I'm like, yo, bro, pay me. And she's like, nah, I ain't paying you, motherfucker. He knows what he's got himself into. That's your problem. I see him. He's surrounded by a bunch of bombs. So I just shoot the bomb so he dies.
Fix. I went in to save him. I set off the bombs on accident.
Oh god.
Yeah, I
And
was
I'm a
like,
tiefling,
oh,
so I take half damage. I lived that. He died.
yeah. No, I was like, well, she ain't paying me. Who cares?
Yeah.
Or the other mission we just did,
Oh.
which weren't a mission. The other thing that happened where we saved these people from a burning house. and Kresh is like, I saved this guy from a burning house. We find his wife. I pick up his wife and drop the wife to his feet. Like he's like, oh, I can't find her. I'm like, don't worry, I know where she is. I pick her up, literally throw her on the floor next to him. He's just crying the whole time. I'm like, yeah, have her. I don't care. And it's just the way the game ends. Honestly, it's the first time I've played a game. And again, coming to Xbox soon, you guys are gonna get to experience it. Please, if anything that I am saying to you sounds fun to you in any way, shape, or form, play this game. But it's the way in my head I go, oh, I wonder how I get in there, and I go, oh, let me try use my axe on it, and then I chop down the door, and you're like, huh, that makes sense, but I didn't think it would make sense in the game.
Yeah,
I don't know how this game works.
Yeah,
well,
they actually use logic rather than video game logic,
Yeah.
and it's like if you think it should work, it probably
works.
will work. Yeah.
We had a point where we were playing and there was like oil on the ground or whatever with a whole bunch of barrels, and I was on fire, and I just walked because there's a chest back there, and I'm like, oh, nothing's gonna happen in my mind. Like, I'm not gonna explode, but then I explode, and there was a guy in the corner, and he just dies. And the game's full of moments like that where like stuff logically works and you just don't expect it to.
Ice on a hill. Use an ice attack on a hill, and then they try and run off and they slip over. And you're like, what do you mean they slipped over? Yeah, they're unconscious for 2 turns. Like, huh? Oh man, this game's great. Yeah. And again, everything we just said, by the way, that was us going. That's me and whoever else. We're running in this direction. You coming? Yeah, all right. And the way me and H play the game when Kresh is not around, it's just so different. Like, she's very much like, I'm over here. And I'm like, I don't care. I'm over here. Like, I'm doing this. And she's like, all right, well, she's got her companion with her. I've got my companion with me. And then when we get into a sticky situation, it's like, hey, I need help. Come, quick. I need you. Please, please, please. And she's like, look, I'm busy. I'm talking to someone. If you die, that's on you. Like, because there was a moment where, like, she was fighting a bunch of skeletons. I was fighting a bunch of spiders. And we're just like, how does the game let us both be this far away from each other, doing separate things that can literally go wrong? All right. And the game's just like, yeah, you can do that. Fine.
Yeah, do
fine,
you
no
want.
problem.
Yeah. I had a perfect, like, we were talking about, like, different, like, dumb scenarios that happened. I came across a hyena that looked like it was giving birth. And I got the option, like, do you want to help him? Or do you want to just kill it? It's like, I'm going to kill it. I'm really gonna kill it. And then so I killed it, and then as I look around, there's like a bunch of other hyenas on the floor doing the same thing. And then just up the hill, there's like werewolves. I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. And it turns out, the hyena is birthing a werewolf. I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, maybe I do want to kill them all.
They're technically not werewolves. I forget what they're called, but they're not werewolves. T-Spawn, get your info correct.
If it walks like a werewolf and talks like a werewolf, it's a freaking werewolf, all right?
Yeah,
and they're dead now, so it's fine.
Yeah.
I think the thing I love the most is when like Kresh joins us and it's like, okay, what have you? We kind of try and give him the best of our ability, our lowdown of what's happened while he's been away, and he's like, oh, I didn't do that before. Oh, I didn't do that before. Oh, I didn't do that before. I don't think there probably has, but like, you've never really been like, oh yeah, this played out exactly the exact same way I did it beforehand.
Yeah.
It's like, no, you guys are such idiots. You play things so different to how like me and my friends play it, and it's like a whole new experience. It's like, it's so good, so good.
I'm gonna be honest, like we talk about it every week at this point, but I am very excited for the Xbox version of Jop, so we've finally got an excuse to play together.
Oh,
because
on it. The only thing that scares me about it is the amount of time. Because I'm telling you, like, it's the first game that I text Haley at 4 o'clock when she finishes work, like, come home, let's play, please. It's literally. If I showed you I don't know if I can even, if you'll be able to see it or not. 1 second, let me see if I can find the text. Here I don't know. Here I don't know if you can see it or not, but it's just 1 sec. I'll read it to you. It's tacos, ? Because it's, I'm leaving now, decide what you want for dinner, and then we can play tonight. Tacos. No response. Okay, I'm done. BG free, please. I'm getting my nails done. We'll call you when I'm done. Okay, on my way home. We still playing Baldur's Gate 3. Yes, come home now. like it's not a. I think that's the fun part as well. It's like it's not a one-way thing.
Yeah.
Haley is into it as well, and she's just like, oh, I forgot how much I missed I miss playing D&D.
Yeah,
And it's
yeah.
like, this is the perfect. I'm scared for when this game ends, and I'm just sat there like, okay, what's
What do I do now?
gonna fill
What's
this
next?
void now? Like, what's gonna? I don't know what can fill the void for this game because it's just so.
Are we gonna have to start playing D&D now as well? Jesus.
Yes, I am so ready, man. I am so ready. We'll figure it out, I'm sure.
Okay.
Kresh, anything else you've been playing that you want to talk about this week?
No, nothing that I haven't talked about before, and I don't really have anything to add.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Let's get into this week's dashboard then, real quick, boys. Microsoft is reportedly has plans to buy Activision Blizzard next week. The Verge reports that Microsoft will seal the deal on Friday, October 13th, pending final approval from the UK. If true, the deal should go through just 5 days later, October 18th, the deadline agreed by Microsoft and Activision. Please, I'm so over it. Please. I just want it done.
Yep.
I just want it done. I don't want to talk about it anymore. The problem is I already look at them as if they own them now at this point, and they don't. So I'm interested to see them as soon as this is done. It's like Crash Bandicoot in Game Pass, Spyro in Game Pass, this game in Game Pass, that game in Game Pass. You're like, oh yeah, shit. They got a lot of games.
If they were smart, I think they would like space it out and not add everything at once.
Oh yeah, it won't be. I don't think it'll be a day when everything is in Game Pass. I think here's a list of 5. Crack on and playing them for the next 2 weeks. Then after that, because I don't know, I think
it just gives you more
option paralysis.
Yeah,
Although,
if you add everything at once, people are less likely to everything's added to Activision. Where it's like, we're adding Crash Bandicoot, Diablo, and this game this month, and then next month, right? It gives more people incentive to like either invest into Game Pass or keep playing Game Pass or keep their Game Pass subscription. I think
that's not what they did with Bethesda though. With Bethesda, it was we own these, and now everything is in there.
But I think Bethesda has less properties, and B, Bethesda was a different time. I think now Activision doesn't need that big influx of games as much as they did with Bethesda.
True. Okay. Fair enough. Me personally, I want it all. I want it to be deal goes through, and they're like, "Yep," and now we own you, and here's more value to this Game Pass thing. Well, it's just like here's more, because what I don't want them to do is buy this and then think it's okay to give us these older games, and then them be on like, yeah, but we've been updating Game Pass. Like, no, like these games are there. You can update. You can do this whenever you want. And plus, we want new experiences from Xbox. Like everything they're going to add is going to be old. Again, and plus getting Diablo for people who haven't played it. Which again, the game's fun. I know we stopped talking about it, but we did enjoy Diablo at the start.
Yeah.
There's also like with the way Diablo's been going, and like I know we had talked about whether it would go to Game Pass, and I think we had agreed eventually it will be to Game Pass and Game Pass without a doubt. I think it won't be long after the purchase goes through that.
Oh, I think that'll be one of the first ones.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I feel like Crash Bandicoot Spyro have to be, because I feel like it's just an FU to Sony.
Oh,
I think
I think they should be the first games.
To me,
I think they should have like a whole trailer cut with it.
Oh, it'll be so good.
If they don't, I'll make that trailer.
Your favorite mascot's now in Game Pass. Yeah. Oh, there's definitely going to be fan-made trailers. If not,
I'm on it.
Definitely. These ones on it. Next up, Liza P DLC singly confirmed. This one was taken from IGN. The listing is for a quest planner role for a Liza P DLC, with one of the bullet points on the listing directly stating that the DLC is in development. Bam, bam, bam.
Anyone surprised about this?
I'm excited for this.
I'm kind of
sure
surprised.
Matt's going crazy.
Yeah. I'm surprised.
Smaller studio.
Yeah, I kind of felt like this was going to be one of those games that came out, people really enjoyed it, they moved on to the next project. I didn't think they would do DLC. Again, I'm also not in the Soulsborne world, so I don't know how DLCs work.
That's fine.
So yeah.
Yeah, a lot of the bigger games make make DLC and stuff like that, but I don't think it would have been out of the question for a newer studio. And this, I'm pretty sure this is the first game, right?
Yeah.
Where after the first game to not work on DLC and instead go into their next game and take what they learned. I am interested to see how, from a design perspective, how the DLC functions compared to like the original and what they learn. Because I think that'll say a lot about their next game even more so.
Yeah. I'm excited for it. Well,
Pinocchio's Disney, right?
no. But Disney made a Pinocchio film, but they don't own
It's
the rights
public.
to. It's a public domain thing. Yeah.
Oh, because that's kind of what I was thinking. I was like, how the hell did they get the IP for this?
A lot of Disney stuff
It's
a lot
just
of, like,
now
the childhood
public.
Disney,
That just happened,
it's-
right?
No. It's
No.
always been public. Like Little Mermaid and stuff like that. Disney doesn't own the rights to those.
It's all based on
Little
like
Mermaid's
public
a grand
fairy tales.
tale, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Disney doesn't own a lot of the
Interesting.
rights to the stuff they rock with.
What
I know
about
they
Toy
recently lost
Story?
like Winnie the Pooh.
Who
That
owns
they
Toy
do.
Story?
They own Toy Story.
Yeah,
That
they do on Totally. Yeah.
It's just it's
Fix
independent
knew.
bit.
Fix knew that. Fix didn't like. That's not a question. Fix actually had.
No, Toy Story is actually from Hans Christian Andersen. Yeah, he wrote that like in the 15th century. No,
So
yeah.
you're saying that I can't make my fan fiction Resident Evil Toy Story crossover?
You can
make fanfic.
do what you want.
Like
Yeah.
that would be considered like a parody or whatever.
Yeah, I
And
want
you
Little
could-
Bo Peep and Leon S. Kennedy to date. So
you
Don't
could
we
do
all?
that. It's a little weird that Leon S. Kennedy's gonna be dating a toy, but hey, man,
2023, bro.
I mean, he's about
Yeah,
as
I'm
wooden
not
as
judging,
everything
I'm
else
saying I'm
in
not
Toy
judging.
Story. So
I dare you. I dare you. It's a bit. Do you know what? I just had a thought. I'm not gonna say it out loud. I had a very interesting thought. I'll tell you off the podcast. I'll tell you
okay,
off the podcast.
moving on.
Next up, Remedy opens up about challenges of developing for the Xbox Series S. Nah, this is kind of, I don't really want to talk about that. I do want to talk about that, but that's not as such. Are we seeing the problem? My question to you guys is, we're never getting a 2-console launch again, right?
No.
Like, there's too much bad PR from this. Though we know that the console is sold very well, and the Xbox consoles are selling very well, and there are more consoles in PlayStation households now, I would say, because of the Series S. But is the headlines becoming problematic for Xbox at this point?
A little bit.
I think they're problematic. I don't think Xbox changes their formula, and I still think they do a 2-console launch for the
Next
rest
one?
of time until they become
Wow.
like the primary leader, and then maybe they're like, hey, we don't need to do the 2-console launch anymore.
They will never become the primary leader again.
I don't think so. So we're always gonna get a 2-console launch. So
So it's just so for those who don't know, not Quantum Dream, bloody hell. Remedy came out, and obviously they're developing Alan Wake. They spoke about performance mode. The big problem that they said in the quote here is, quote, but the GPU, so it says, let me read the whole quote. Series S, the CPU is pretty much the same as the Series X, but the GPU is an issue. It really is. And then having less memory is a pretty big problem. And we often get, okay, you make PC games, surely you know how to scale. Well, the memory is not the problem on PC. It really isn't. And that's one of the struggles when you talk about the resolution and frame rate. It's just not enough to drop the resolution heavily. That's what we're doing on the Series S. And we're really, really working hard to make sure the visual quality still holds up. It sounds like you do not want to play Alan Wake 2 on your Series S, if I'm being honest with you. I saw there's one more quote that came from this, which was like, if you want the definitive edition of like the next gen version of this game, play it on either the PS5 or the Series X or PC. Yeah. Like, and that to me is where I think the problem lies for Xbox. You've sold people on a next gen console, being the Xbox Series S, and developers are openly coming out and saying now, and this isn't the only, and don't get me wrong, this isn't the only game, this isn't the only dev, and I'm sure it will still be playable on the console, but you have sold people the dream of play next gen on a significantly cheaper piece of hardware, and technically they haven't broke that promise, but devs are coming out and being like, look, this ain't gonna be it.
It worked fine like earlier in the generation when games were still being made for the Xbox One, and you look at the Series S and you're like, it's such a big improvement. But now that we're getting deeper into the generation and we're looking at the Series S still, it's like, oh wow, the games aren't living up. The games aren't like when they're stopping to worry about the Xbox One being the limitation, now the Series S is the limitation, you start having issues. On top of that, like even when we go back to the whole Baldur's Gate issue, that is very much a Microsoft issue. I know some
Oh,
people are like,
100%.
well, the developers should be able to fix it. But like you were mentioning earlier, you can go as far as you want when you're playing that game in co-op. So if the console itself can't handle it, that does become a problem, right? And so I do think Microsoft needs to. I really think like they need to either look at the parity issue, or they need to be looking at like maybe the next time we do it, we trim down the price difference a little bit, where it's still definitely cheaper to get the Series S, whatever that equivalent will be, but they're a little bit more in line in power.
Yeah, I agree.
I think
agree.
this is definitely a learning experience for them. I think they're going to see like a lot of the arguments that people have been coming up with now, especially we're talking about getting into like Unreal 5 and like the benchmarks that thing is going to need to hit to be able to run the games properly. I think this is going to be like if they do another console generation with two consoles.
He said doo-doo. Sorry. Carry on.
Okay, if they carry on with doing two versions of a console, is that better? Okay,
Way better.
okay. Do Jesus, working with children here. Yeah, if they carry on with the two generation or two console cycle in a generation, I think there's going to have to be some like hard limits to what they scale down. Like you say, they're saying here that GPU and memory is a problem. They're going to have to limit those to like there's going to be a low limit that they're going to have to include, and they're going to have to cut the cost somewhere else because they can't have this being the issue again. Like
Do you know what I see
it's bad
happening?
PR all the way through. Go on.
I see Xbox having the weaker console next gen.
Yeah.
And just taking a hit. They're going to come out at a lower price point, but just having the weaker console. Because they've proven that having the technically the Series X is the more powerful console on the market right now.
Yep.
Between that and the PS5, right? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So I feel like Xbox are planning a different, and I think they're just going to go out. We're going to lower the cost by having a weaker system, but we're still going to be able to compete because we have Game Pass and etc.
Yeah.
So,
and again, I guess next generation, I think the focus more on cloud gaming is going to be prevalent. So there'll be less need for having the most powerful console. If you can turn around and say we've got the best cloud infrastructure, like with Azure. And we've got Game Pass on that and cloud gaming and all of the other stuff that's going to come with that for the next generation. Then they don't need to be the most powerful console anymore. They can say that they can run the most powerful games on cloud. And as long as they're hitting that for the next generation, I think that'll be the
that
focus.
worked for Google, didn't it? It worked for them.
Moving on.
Next up, we spoke about it a bit earlier in the show, but CD Projekt Red spent roughly 125 million turning Cyberpunk 2077 around post-launch. Obviously this is all to do with the 2.0 update, and of course the DLC that's came out. I don't saw a lot of people clapping and happy about this and things like that. I really want us to understand and remember what happened with this game and where it launched, and remember who got thrown under the bus, and remember how they treated certain people. And at the end of the day, I'm not poo-pooing the fact that they spent this amount of money, and I'm not poo-pooing the fact that they fixed their game, but they also sold us for $60-70 a broken mess. So maybe I'm being a little bit pessimistic here about this, or mean, or whatever you want to say, but I'm just not one to clap rich company for fixing broken thing that they sold me.
Mm-hmm.
I get it, but they also refunded everybody that wanted a refund.
True. I'm not. All I'm saying,
I get what you're saying.
All I'm saying is like I'm not gonna be the one on the podcast this week going, oh, I'm so proud of them. They've done such a great job, and that's what the PR right now around it is that. And I agree, they didn't have to fix it.
Yeah, They just moved on and done
Yeah.
Cyberpunk 2 or whatever it's going to be.
Which I thought they were going to, honestly.
Well, they are still doing that, but yeah.
No, but I meant that's
You
what I
thought
thought.
they were just going to drop it.
I generally thought it would have been the deal. I was surprised when I heard about 2.0 update.
Yeah.
I will say that. And I'm surprised by the amount, and again, I've not played it myself, so I don't know, but the amount of people that say, oh my God, it's like it's a new game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
it feels like a sequel.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
Like gameplay-wise, it does feel like it's a sequel to a degree.
That's nuts.
Yeah. So they have like I get what you're saying, but I also understand why people are praising it because it's not like some surface level like, oh, we polished and fixed the bugs. It's like they went well above and beyond what was necessary.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure their stock also dropped after this news broke with their board meeting or whatever.
You did
like
what?
you wasted how much? Because to them it's like it's to the board it's like you wasted money, not like you return. There's not that much return on investment off of fixing a game that's old. That is that old because the expansion's probably not going to sell enough to make that money back.
I will say that there's going to be looking through this. Obviously, we've got they repaired the game for 2.0 launch. They did the DLC. They also did Edge Runners, which if you've not watched Edge Runners on Netflix,
Edge Runners is not part of the 125 million price.
Oh, is it not? Oh, okay.
No.
It was mentioned in here, so that's fine.
Yeah,
all right, never mind.
It's mentioned in that part of the article, but it's not part of the.
Okay, so this was just for the game development part. Yeah. Okay, fair enough. Then ignore what I said, but moving on.
Perfect. I always do. Yeah, no, I don't know, man. I'm excited for a new Witcher, man.
Also coming.
Like, the one thing I will say, like, Cyberpunk was not Cyberpunk. CD Projekt Red was almost in my head as a rock star. They were almost there, and that's where the problem lies for me. Which is they are back there now in a way because they've done this, right? This is something that I would see Rockstar doing, selling a game to everyone, because this game did crazy numbers when it first launched.
Yeah,
making all that money, and I could see Rockstar being like, if they sent out something that was broke, being like, yeah, we're going to fix it. We're doing, and we're going to go above and beyond. So I respect them. I'm not saying I don't respect them, but The Witcher 3 was such a good game. But I'm just not going to sit here and be like, yeah, man, you guys are like, no, bro, like you created something that you knew. Yeah, you should fix it. And I'm not the money side of things doesn't play into it for me because you made ridiculous amounts of money, which is crazy. And those stockholders will be right back as soon as the next thing gets announced. So
once Witcher 4 gets announced, they'll be there.
Yeah. They also did, which I didn't include the story. They announced a live action Cyberpunk movie.
Yep,
is going to be in production, which will be interesting.
I want it to suck.
I want it to be amazing. So
you know why I want it to suck, Kresh?
Don't know why you want it to suck.
Yeah, because no one deserves anything good live action until I get a good live action Resident Evil film.
There's been several good live action Resident Evil movies that have done great numbers in the box office.
There's a difference between doing numbers and being good. All right?
Okay.
How dare you?
I apologize.
It sucks, man. The last one. They had a cast of good actors and they still fucked it.
For some people, that is the definitive like Resident Evil experience.
What?
The movies.
What?
For some people, that is Resident Evil.
I know. Bro, you think I don't know that? I talk to people and they're like, oh, you're in games? Bro, think about the amount of like, type of parties I've been to and people are like, oh, you work in games? Oh, I love the Resident Evil films. And I'm like,
get out.
I just want to punch you in the face.
I hate you.
I just want to punch you. I do. I just want to punch you in the face. And I'm like, how dare you? I'll give you the first film. I'll give you the first one.
First one's all right.
The first film is not a terrible film.
Shirel's kicks a dog. It's great.
It's everything beyond that. That's the worst thing to ever exist. That upsets me. And that last film, the last Alice film is what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Might be the worst Resident Evil. Might be the worst film I've ever seen in my life.
Wow. High praise.
Yeah. I went to the cinema to see it, bro.
I'm so sorry.
Literally, I've been to the cinema to see all of them. Every single one.
Why?
I was going to ask if you've watched the Avatar: The Last Airbender movie, but I feel like you haven't, Fix. You probably haven't even watched the TV show, no.
Why would I watch that?
I was just curious because you said it's the worst movie ever, and me thinking back to the
Oh
worst movie I've watched ever is that movie. So I was just
no,
curious
bro.
how it
I,
compares.
I remember watching this and being like, I remember being in the cinema and just the jump cut, jump cut, jump cut, jump cut, jump cut, jump cut, bang, bang, bang. It's dark. You can't even see what's happening in
Mm,
the action. I remember I'm not a film critic. You know, that's not what I do. Like when I go to see films, I go in to just turn my brain off and watch the film and enjoy it. I'm
yeah.
not. I remember watching this film going and looking at Haley going, I'm so sorry. I remember saying to her, I'm so sorry. It was so bad.
Yeah.
So bad. Yeah, man. Yeah, I remember dragging my dad to go see Resident Evil 1. And my dad sitting
Mm.
there going, I remember my dad leaning over being like, I don't know what's going on. I'm like, what's going on even, Dad? Leon's not here. Claire's not here. I don't know who these people are, right? Like, well, it was one of those ones, man. It was one of those ones. Let's get through these last two pieces of news before we get into questions. First one, Redfall finally got an update. It adds 60 FPS on FPS mode on consoles. Again, we spoke about it before the show. I think we're gonna jump back into it tomorrow to check it out, just so we can all have a fresh opinion of the game. The most notable addition to it is obviously the performance mode on consoles, allowing Xbox Series X and S owners to play the game at a higher frame rate. Yeah, I haven't got too much more to add, honestly.
Yeah.
I don't know about you guys, but
I think they've announced like there's obviously some fixes. They've announced there's going to be more enemies in cities as you walk around, which is good because it felt empty as hell
Yep.
originally. So hopefully it should be a better experience. I'm interested to see what it actually feels like. I'm interested to see is us three playing it will bring up the total usage count, because I think at one point this game
Those single digits.
didn't have enough people for a full squad.
Yeah.
That's how bad it was. So
I mean, it was that bad, so
yeah. So hopefully it's, hopefully, like I'm gonna be honest, I really want this to have a cyberpunk-esque comeback. I don't it's
Oh,
not
no
happening.
chance.
100% not happening, but I want it to, because
I
the
think
bare bones are there.
I don't think the bare bones are there the way they were with Cyberpunk, if I'm gonna be honest
agree.
with you.
No. I
'Cause
love
think
the
like
premise
Cyberpunk,
and the
if you look
story.
past like all the bugs and stuff like that, I think the world, I think if you go by world, I think you have a really cool world with Redfall.
Yeah.
I don't think the bare bones of the mechanics of that game are there. Like, sure, if you're looking at the shooting and some of that stuff, like you could say it's there, but I don't think the
Yeah.
loop is there necessarily for me.
True.
Which
Yeah.
I could get fixed, but I don't see with the interest level in this game. I just don't see it lasting long enough
No.
for those
Like,
issues to get.
Yeah,
fixed.
there's still thousands of people playing Cyberpunk before they had the update. So like there's like barely 10.
Do you want
playing at
to
the
know
moment.
how many are playing on Steam right now?
Right now,
Yeah.
go on.
Crash, go on. Guess.
7,
More.
25.
12.
39 people playing right now.
Damn, big numbers.
Isn't this update's out as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
To be fair, I'd imagine most people would be playing it on Game Pass,
Sure. Sure.
Yeah.
but Steam's still a relative metric, even when
Yeah,
it
it's
game's on Game
still a
Pass.
good. Yeah, it's still a good
59
benchmark.
players in the last 24 hours.
Okay. Well, it's about to go
Yeah, I
to
don't-
62, so that's gonna be great.
How long do you think until they announce that they're no longer producing new content for Redfall?
Oh,
I don't think-
it's already
yeah, I
done.
don't-
It's done. This
yeah.
was it.
Yeah, this is
No,
literally.
I'm not saying. I'm saying they announced it because they haven't announced.
I don't
it.
think they announced it.
You don't think so?
Yeah.
Wasn't there a season pass with this?
I think there was DLC,
Mhm.
but also I think they would. I think Microsoft would mess up so much if they don't announce it.
I think
Because they
we'll
made
get.
announcements like, "Hey, we're gonna keep producing content for the game. We're gonna add all this stuff." Like they made a lot of promises after the game came out and was what it was.
I
It's not
assume
like,
we'll get
they
the.
made promises beforehand
Sorry.
and they couldn't live up to it.
Honestly, I don't know, man. Me, I'm staying quiet about this game.
Yeah.
Like, if I was them, I'm not talking about this game. I'm not mentioning this game.
Yeah.
I'm just letting this game. I reckon we'll get an interview one day from somebody, and they'll be like, "Oh yeah, we stopped working on that a while ago."
Yeah, I reckon the DLC that's announced will get released. That'll drop quietly. Like, yeah, here's your release date trailer. That's it. That's all we're saying. It
I don't think you'll
launches.
see it. I don't think you'll even see it at like an E3 or something.
No. I think it will literally be
drop it.
like straight on YouTube, a Twitter post,
Mhm.
and then yeah, that'll be it.
I think you do see it at E3. I don't think you see it at the main show.
You think it'll be like the
Oh,
you
post
the show
interview,
afterwards.
the
Yeah.
outside
show
yeah.
afterwards, or like if they have a little bit of a pre-show or something like that, they'll just show it like, hey, we got
Yeah,
this
yeah.
coming out, but no way it touches the main stage. I don't
No,
think.
absolutely not.
What a failure. What a. I hate it, bro. I had such high hopes for this game.
Mm-hmm. Same.
Yeah.
We'll
It's
find out tomorrow
Arcane.
if it's any better. We'll find out. We'll find out. Next up and last story, unfortunately, a bit of sad news. Very sad for me as well. Telltale confirms layoffs after the Wolf Among Us 2 dev claims most of team affected. Been a bad week. Been a couple of weeks for gaming, to be honest with you. I'm disappointed in our industry, man. As a whole, I'm disappointed. I'll be honest. Like, we've seen profit margins up. We've seen developers, publishers, making a lot of money the last few years. Like, especially COVID, and we're seeing a lot of CEOs, COOs getting bonuses and stuff like that. But we're seeing a lot of layoffs in our industry. Creative Assembly, obviously, with the Hyena stuff. You've got obviously now Telltale with this Wolf Among Us, again, a game that I've been waiting for.
Same.
Who else? There was somebody else who let go of people.
Volition lost all of their
Volition.
just got shuttered.
Yeah,
there's been a ton.
it's
Mediatonic, was it? The team behind Fall Guys.
Oh yes, I remember they had. I don't think that was
Epic
fully
in general.
confirmed though.
Yeah, it was.
Epic
yeah.
let go of people in general.
Yeah, Epic.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I remember reading that article though from Jason Schreier, and it wasn't. I think it got reported that it was their team, but it actually wasn't.
Yeah.
So something came out. It wasn't just them. But yeah, Epic as a whole as well. Yeah, I'm a bit disappointed. I just feel like things are not adding up.
Yeah.
I think I'll talk about
it. I think the thing that really sucks is that if you look at a lot of these companies and you look at the COOs and the CEOs and whoever else, they're not taking price cuts. They're not taking pay cuts. They're getting the same check they would have otherwise. But the bonuses that they get could have kept quite a few people on board to not have as massive layoffs.
Yeah, I posted this online when I saw like the third or fourth article about this kind of stuff. Is like layoffs are not a sign of like a bad company; they're a sign of bad management, and it's always the lowest people on the rung that suffer for it. Like if you fail to manage your company to the extent where you have to lay off like 30% of your staff, you should be losing money, not them. Like they're the ones that built it. I hate, like, and again, I'm sure you'll agree, I hate it's the creative people that suffer first. The people that are making the games and the people that are doing these things for you. Like the people that make the entertainment that we all like love and talk about all the time. It's always them that suffer first, and it's never the CEOs that are the ones making these decisions that suffer.
Unfortunately, that's the way of the world, isn't it? Like
it is.
It's always been the same. The creatives are always the ones that we're not the ones that profit, and we're not the ones that get the longevity either. It feels like. But yeah, I don't know, man. It's a strange one. It really is a strange one. I hope we can figure it out soon, because we're in a weird spot.
Hopefully on the horizon we will start getting some like positive news, because I know that obviously there are talks. We've just had the SAG-AFTRA thing go through for movies, where there's been a lot of work to kind of protect those staff that are working on the movies and TV shows and everything like that. And I know that the video game industry is also in those similar talks, specifically around voice acting and things like that. But also there are unions within the games industry that are trying to get traction.
Yeah.
Honestly, I mean, just unionize if you can. I mean, like, protect yourself as much as possible.
Can't say that. Americans hate unions.
That's not true.
Is that not true?
Some
No,
Americans
hate.
I thought it's true.
There's a select group of Americans.
Let me
capitalists.
Let me rephrase it. The Americans I've been around hate unions.
Yeah.
Can I be totally blunt? I don't give a fuck if you hate unions. At the end of the day, it's protecting people's livelihoods, and at the end of the day, sometimes their lives. That they need these protections in place. We have it in the UK where we have basic human rights around our works that protect us and make sure that we've got at least a standard of living. And I think It might not be.
How does it find that?
It's. I mean, it might be slipping with the last 12 years of Tory government, but yeah, we have some things in place that for now. But yeah, people should feel safe that they're in the knowledge that they will be able to do the job that they love without being let go because the company as a whole has failed to manage their expectations.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Boys.
Also, fuck Bobby Kotick.
Okay, yeah, sure.
But now that.
Guess that game time, boys.
Yeah.
Whose turn is it? Is it me?
It's my turn.
You ready?
No?
You ready?
Yeah.
I did do it. You came prepared?
Bro.
Oh, okay.
Damn.
Guess
Okay.
that game. For those who don't know, each week we come around, we guess a game. One of the hosts pick a game to pick. We have to ask questions, yes, no answers only. We are going to up the time officially. 1 minute 30. What?
I have problems with this.
Why?
wasn't
You've
up
had a
last
go,
week.
right?
It wasn't up last week.
Yeah, and we failed
You didn't have to guess last week.
Kresh. We're gonna be in a vicious circle otherwise. We have to up the time at some point.
I'm here for a vicious circle. I'm trying to get some points. You
Spicy
snubbed me
Kresh
that
is here.
first week.
Kresh, you've been awake for over an hour and a half of this podcast now. Stop being so
Yeah, now I'm
grouchy.
just grumpy. Now
Stop being so grouchy.
I just woke up. Now
We
I'm
are
just
upping
angry.
the time to 1 minute and 30 seconds. Yes, no answers
Fine.
only. The game has to have released on Xbox. Kresh,
Yes.
are you ready?
Are you guys ready?
No, never.
It's gonna go fixed and despawn with answers.
Okay.
No questions. Start.
All right. Did it release on the 360 generation?
Yes.
Is it a first party title?
No.
Is it a sports title?
RPG?
Yes.
Was it published by EA?
Yes. No. Yes.
Co-op?
No.
Does the title start with dragon?
No.
Okay. It's really sorry. I'm really put off by the fact that I can see my face in your screen. Can you just angle a bit? There you go. Perfect.
Fix his face.
Sorry. Is it exclusive to Xbox?
It was.
Okay. Yeah. All right, cool. It has. Does it have 3 sequels? Is there 4? Is there 4 of them?
Is there 4 of them?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh God, I don't know.
Oh, whatever.
I
All right,
genuinely
cool.
don't.
I'm good. I don't need the
You
extra.
really
time.
don't.
Wait, what?
Despawn?
No, my mind's like completely blanked.
Oh, stop
That's-
it. One
I'm
more
not-
question. Come on.
You got a question?
I know. No, I don't. My mind's completely blank. I hate this game.
Wow. I just want to let you know
That
I
was
went easy this week.
easy.
I went easy. Wow.
All right, well, I know it. So
So it's a
let's go for it. Come on, go for it. with me.
360 RPG,
Yep.
not exclusive.
Yep.
No co-op. There are multiple sequels. Do you say specifically 4?
Split 4 games.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm gonna need an answer here. I'm gonna need an answer. Fix has his answer locked in.
Thick has his answer locked in.
Come on.
Oh my God.
Dun, dun, dun.
I gave you the 4 to make it easier. I smashed it. We
My
got
brain's-
EA,
no, my-
bro.
My brain's
I'm
gone.
gonna give you.
Oh, you're gonna be so
another-
angry.
I am
You're
gonna be very
so
angry.
I'm gonna give you 20 seconds to.
No,
think of
it's
the
fine.
Despawn.
It's good.
Just get
Just
something.
guess
then.
anything. Anything.
I mean, the only fuck. You said it was
Anything.
EA. You said it was EA, right? I mean, oh, you know what? It's oh fuck me. It's Mass Effect.
Of course, it's Mass Effect.
There you go.
Jesus Christ!
My brain just went like, wait, there was only 3. Like, no, there was a 4th. Yeah, Mass
That's
Effect.
what I
Okay.
gave you. I gave
Yeah,
you the answer.
Because Fix said 3
I
at
don't-
first. and
I don't think of the
hesitated
4th as a
because
real
it's
game,
not
so it's fine. Yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah, okay, cool. It's Mass Effect. All right.
I went easy on you guys.
My
this week.
brain then. What did my brain do? My brain just went, no, fuck you. Despawn, you're done.
We both get points, right? We both get
Uh-huh.
points.
Yeah, you both get points.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, okay. And Kresh, I want you to know, I would have had that with no extra time. I wouldn't even have needed the extra time. So
Oh, I know.
Apparently, I
What
needed to
about,
know
like,
it
50,
like 4
40 or
minutes.
something?
So
I had that as soon as you said there's only two
Yeah.
EA
Yeah.
RPGs that I was going for. It
Yeah,
was
once
either
you
Dragon
said, does it
Age-
start with a dragon? I knew. Like, you had that. You had that.
I don't
That
like.
should have been the giveaway once he asked, does it have dragon in the title?
I've literally got a Mass Effect out up there. What is wrong with me?
So
I'm
to go,
surprised Fix got it before you.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
crazy.
My
So,
my
okay.
brain today is just like, nope.
Points for Guess That
Yeah.
Game. Currently holding title for this segment. Kresh on 0 points.
Haha.
I
Matt,
don't think I'm going to end up with any
Oh,
points. I
1
just want
point.
that, you know.
Yes,
Yeah.
you will. Yes, you will. Mr. Paul Despawn on 2 points. Mr. MC Fixer, me, on 2 points.
Yeah.
It feels good to be a winner. It feels good to be a winner.
It does.
It's crazy that you had to cheat
Bro,
me
do you
out
know
of a
what's
point,
crazy? Do you know what's crazy though?
And at 30
Now-
seconds.
Now I'm thinking, yeah. Do I want to help him? Because I could have had that to myself.
You could have done.
You shouldn't have helped him if I
Yeah,
want to be
Yeah,
honest.
I don't know why
He
you
would
did.
not have gotten it.
Yeah, but I felt like I should have helped.
He would not have gotten it at all. You're like, I just want Matt to have the least amount of points
I just
Yeah.
want Matt
between
to
the
have
three of you
lost.
guys because
We
I'm
don't
not
matter
getting any
less.
points.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, look, we got it. We got it again.
We got that.
Bro, I hope you get destroyed.
I'm
hope you
100% get destroyed in the comments. They're coming for
hope
me.
so.
I feel it.
I hope so, because you suck.
I know.
Let's jump into Fix the Sack before we get out of here real quickly. First one comes from, how the hell do I say this name? Because I've looked at it a few times.
Go to the second question he asked at the bottom.
Oh, you're right. Truentus. Yeah?
Sure.
Truentus.
Tass.
I would say
Tass.
Toss, but I'm not entirely
Tuss.
sure.
All right, Tarentus. Tarentus says, do you think Starfield was a victim of its own hype, as well as Xbox setting it up as a big win? If it had been marketed as a Fallout in space, it might have fared better post-launch. Now that the dust has settled, it really seems like Starfield was just another Bethesda asked Bethesda game. Was that not I thought that was kind of how they marketed it. Obviously, it was Fallout in space. That's kind of what I was expecting to get, and that's kind of what we got, really, with a few more bells and whistles. I guess the only thing I think they did hype up was the whole exploration in terms of like the 1,000 planets and resources and all that stuff, which technically is in the game. Like you can't. It's not like it's not there. It's just not fun. If I'm being honest, for me, it's just not fun. But yeah, I don't think it's a no. At the end of the day, it's a publisher's job to hype up its games. So no, I don't feel like they. I don't think they oversold Starfield. If I'm honest with you.
The problem with Starfield is just some design decisions that until you get over them really hold back your enjoyment of the game.
Yeah.
Yep. Are you guys still playing?
Just for lack of time, no. But I am going to go back to it because I still want to see how New Game Plus handles on the next second and third run. So yeah, so I'm still going to keep playing it. And spoilers, going to be in my Game of the Year list. So yeah.
Kresh, are you gonna you still going? What's the? No.
I've been playing other games. I got no interest in going back. If I'm gonna be 100% honest.
Oh,
I thought I would once because like I was talking about it, I was enjoying it more towards the end, and then I stepped back, and until right now, I haven't even thought about whether I will go back or not, which means there's no chance I go back.
Agreed. I don't think I'll go back either. I don't think it would be not even I don't think. I think I can appreciate what it is. I appreciate Bethesda. I know what they are capable of doing. I look forward to the next game because this one just wasn't for me.
Yeah.
So
I think
see
the only
see you in 10 years.
The only game I'm interested. The only game I'm interested from Bethesda putting out at this point is an Elder Scrolls game, and if it's not Elder Scrolls, I think I don't have much interest in whatever they do.
Fallout's good, man. I enjoyed Fallout 4. Yeah, man. No, I knew Fallout. I'm all for. I think I can now get into Elder Scrolls finally. I feel like now I'm finally mature enough at 31 years old that I can understand what the game is and like play it. But just Starfield, I think you hit the nail on the head, Kresh, which is the game is designed in a very specific way, and if you don't like that, you either have to persevere and get over it or stop playing. And I chose the latter.
Fair.
So, yeah. Same person. Next question. I play COD every year and usually fall off in a month. Throughout the year, I pick it back up. I just started grinding this season because of the spawn skin. I was confused at first, but by the black cell stuff being advertised, I wasn't sure what it was. Apparently, it's a premium season pass option that you can pay for on top of the regular season pass. Activision has outdone themselves by adding premium season pass on top of regular season pass. Where does it end? Will there be an even higher tier season pass added in the future? Do you guys think it is getting out of hand? Did you pay for it?
Do you? I have a question fixed because you keep up with Call of Duty more than me. Do you know what the Black Cell stuff is?
I haven't even heard of it until this question. I haven't
No.
played COD or thought about COD in I had a beta code, by the way, for this weekend and didn't touch it.
Yeah.
Apparently, Modern Warfare 3's multiplayer is actually very fun, is what people.
I don't want to hear it, bruv. I hear it every year. It's a vicious circle. Oh my god, this year's COD's really good. Oh my god, the movement's really amazing. Yes. Call of Duty game equals good game and fun at start until all the problems start. So
the grind and
will
the
I be
sweats.
playing? So will I be playing Call of Duty at the start? Absolutely, I will play it. I bet you I stream it. I bet you I love it. I bet you I'm having fun. I bet you I jump back into Rebirth Island. I bet you I jump back into BR. I bet you I convince Kresh to come play for a week. Like, I guarantee all these things. And then I guarantee you I will fall off like I always do. And I'm with you on the falling off. To answer your actual question, though, because we're not talking about COD, the beta. Look, I'm at this point with games, right? Like, a game developer's job is to develop and make a fun game. A game publisher's job is to extract there's not enough money out of that game to cover overheads and be profitable. Why are we still hung up and worried about extra premium season passes? If you don't want it, don't buy it.
As long as it's not stopping you from playing the game.
Yes.
And mind you, the season pass technically goes for Warzone, and Warzone is free to play, right? If I'm not
Yes.
mistaken. Like,
Yeah,
you don't need
yes.
the base game
No.
with the season pass. You can still play the game completely free and enjoy the game as is. Without buying the season pass. Could you say it might be a little bit greedy? Sure, but people also want new content and new guns and stuff like that for these games to come out as well.
I think we're also forgetting. So, okay, cool. Call of Duty, think about it, right? New season of Call of Duty drops. You've already paid for the people. Most people, and again, I understand that maybe you're not the target audience for this because you've said you drop off, you come back, you drop off. That's the way you play, right? Think about the people like me and, you know, especially streamers and then people who watch streamers, right? We get to the end of season passes very fast. So if you're adding a extra premium season pass or whatever it is, yeah, they're seeing that and going, oh yeah, this streamer's definitely going to buy that, which is then going to influence millions of people to then buy it as well. Like, it's just perfect marketing. I'm sorry to tell you that. Again, publisher does good marketing in terms of how they can make more money. We can't be angry at them for it. Do you know what you do if you don't like something? Don't buy it. And
if I could interject, these things
please.
exist because people pay money for them. As long as people are buying them, they're going to keep existing. Do you think there'll be even higher? I think there'll be different tiers. Yeah, 100%. I think we're going to get more of these. Are they negative? Are they a bad thing? No, not really. They're a thing that you can spend your disposable income on. If you don't want to do that and you don't have the income to do it, don't do it. It's that simple.
Kresh, let me just really quickly, yeah? You're not going to get it for free. Like, that's what I feel like. We live in a world now where, like, we still, especially our age group, right? Or at least my age group. I know, Kresh, you're a little bit younger. I don't actually know how old you are, Despawn, to be exact.
No comment.
Okay, cool. But I feel like some people are still hung up in the 90s of, like, up, down, left, right, cheat code unlocks 10 skins. We're not in that time anymore. Video games cost so much more to make, number one. And number two, yes, companies have gotten greedier. Like, I'm not sitting here and going to say to you it's not greed on Activision's point or, you know, Call of Duty's point. I'm not sitting here saying it's not greed. It is. But it also costs money to make those skins, meaning they had to pay someone for it. So they need to make that money back. Like, I just don't see what the problem here is. Sorry, Kresh, go on.
Also, I think it's kind of weird to complain necessarily about microtransactions and then also in the same breath mourn when developers get fired and let go when there's massive layoffs. It's because a lot of times, not all the time, mind you,
No.
the profit that's made should cover for the developers. 100%, not all the time. We've seen games with microtransactions lay people off still
Fortnite?
regardless. Fortnite's definitely one of them. So
I will tell you now, just to interject, that once this deal goes through with ABK, there will be some teams that have to lose some people because
Oh,
Microsoft will
100%.
want to make some of that money back straight away.
Yeah, of course. There's going to be restructuring.
but it also, yeah, it doesn't. As much as it sucks, it doesn't necessarily make sense for you to buy a whole new, to buy a company like that and then keep everything.
Well, everything wasn't working, or they wouldn't have been
Yeah.
sold in the first place.
But it's also Microsoft's gonna have different plans for the studios than Activision had for itself, right?
Absolutely.
So stuff will definitely have to get changed there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, to
So-
get back to the
sorry-
season pass thing,
Yeah,
it's like, again, just to confirm what like my thoughts is, season passes are a cosmetic extra that do not affect the gameplay. Release as many as you want, honestly. Like if there are people want that cosmetic stuff, they will pay for it if it's a relatively good price. Like, granted, if someone releases a premium season pass, it's like $90 for the. And it's only available for 2 months, and then another $90. That might be a bit egregious. That might be a bit much. But
No, it's not. I'm sorry, it's not. I don't give a fuck if you charge $1,000. I don't care.
Okay.
If you don't want to support it, don't pay for it.
Yeah. Okay.
Like,
No, fair.
I get what you're saying. I understand your point of view, right? But my
Yeah.
point of view is, I'm sick of people like being annoyed about things that are like, oh, there's a premium season pass. I don't agree with that. Okay, then don't buy it.
I think where you want to look at microtransactions and be like, hey, I don't support that, and that's something you should get mad at, is when we talked about the Capcom Resident Evil upgrading guns and stuff like that. We
Yes.
could just buy the tickets. I think that's a valid reason. I think if you're looking at Assassin's Creed Mirage, you can
Yes.
buy weapons and outfits that have unique gameplay abilities to them.
Yep.
And I think maybe that's a point where you're like, hey, you are locking out a portion of gameplay or whatever so early on because they already have a bunch in production. But you could also argue that, hey, that's just bonuses that are completely unnecessary to the game.
To give
that one's a
credit where
little
credit's
bit more
due
in the
to
mid-ground.
Capcom, you can earn it. Yes, it's going to take you a
Yeah.
bloody long time, but in Capcom's
But-
point of view, you can earn those upgrades, and that's kind of
Yeah.
the replayability is kind of that for that game, if I'm honest with you. So
Yeah.
to give credit to Capcom there,
Yeah.
where like I don't think it's, do I agree with it? No, but I can also see it from the point of view of, hey, I really like this sniper. I wish I had it to be fully upgraded, but I don't want to put that time in. All right, we'll pay for it then. I can see the argument. I don't agree with it, but I can see it.
Yeah. But I also remember being a young kid and being in like forums online and stuff like that, and people being like, hey man, I really wish I could just pay for this upgrade because
Yep.
I have work and I don't have the time to like grind out all this stuff. And now that it's here, everybody just complains about it. And I think it's this really weird duality of like, nobody will ever really be happy about it, but now that companies are making money off of finally doing something that some people wanted, people are getting angry as
Right.
opposed to just wishing something was different.
There are so many people that are happy that they can pay for level skips. There are so many people out there that are happy they can pay for skins, whatever it is. They are happy. They are the silent people just putting their credit card in and paying £20 for whatever it is they want, and then they're going about their business and playing their games. That's the truth of it.
Yeah.
That's the truth of it. So yeah, I'm not again. I'm just not. I'm not against having the conversation. I think the conversation is healthy,
Yeah.
and I agree with you. So thank you for the question. But what I am against is like we keep vilifying companies for acting like companies. Speak
Yeah.
with your wallet. Simple as. Just
You
don't
don't like-
buy it. Don't purchase it. And I don't want to hear the excuse of, yeah, but I want the thing. Then you have to pay for it and pay for that currency of which they want to sell it to you as.
Yeah.
Simple.
As Kresh said earlier, you can't complain about a £5 season pass and then complain about people losing their jobs because they're not making enough money.
Yeah.
Don't work that way.
Which we hope.
Yeah.
Again, that's where I think we worry. That's when I get
Yeah.
worried. Is the
Yeah.
problem. It's like we hope that money
Money
goes
is coming
towards
back.
developers and making sure
Which
people still
isn't
have
always the
jobs.
case.
Yeah.
Isn't.
I mean,
especially when you
yeah.
have people like these CEOs taking ridiculous amounts of
They
bonuses.
just get
So,
thicker bonuses.
yeah.
Mhm.
So yes. Next one comes from Darkness Zola. Zola.
Zora.
Zora, thank you. New name, thank you. What up? How are you? With all the talk about Metacritic numbers and review scores lately, do you think putting a number to a review is a good idea or not anymore? Especially when all it does is spark conflicts. Great question. I don't know what the talk about Metacritic is, or maybe I'm out of the circle for that one.
It's for both Assassin's Creed and Forza. Because Forza's been getting, I think Forza's like around an 80 on Metacritic, if I'm not mistaken.
And Starfield's had similar conversations.
I did see a review a bit lower than, again, we didn't get sent a review code, so none of us have been able to play it. Microsoft doesn't love us. I don't know why. Until they do. It confuses me.
Love me, Phil.
We played Minecraft Legends. We played Minecraft Legends, didn't we? But apparently falls on. No. I think review scores are still important. Yes. I think it comes back to the exact same thing we were just talking about, right? Which is some people just need that scroll down. Is this game broken? Does it work? Oh my God, it's a 7, perfect. And then they go about their business. Good is great to some people.
As much as we give 7s, like people will give 7s shit and stuff like that. Some people are fine with 7s. Most people are fine with 7s. Most people are looking at like, is this game a 3 or a 4, or is it broken? They're looking at that last paragraph that gives a brief description of the rest of the review. I will say reviews aren't as powerful as they used to be when you only had a select group of people reviewing, and it felt much more critique and in depth. Where now it's sort of like we're just reviewing and giving our opinions, which is fair. The idea of a review's changed and whatnot, which is fine. Are review scores super necessary? I would say for gamers, no. But for people, for hardcore gamers, no. For the casual gamer, review scores are very necessary.
Yeah,
for people who aren't super in tune with everything.
Yeah, for the kind of people that spend that buy like maybe 4 or 5 games a year, review scores are probably important. They're like, I've got like £60 in my pocket. I need to buy I'm going to be buying a game this month. Let me have a look at some quick reviews of the game that I think looks good. Is it actually worth the £60? For other people like ourselves, which are like probably have got Game Pass and various subscriptions or get codes, I think review scores aren't as important. I think it's generally the thoughts behind the reviews that are more important to us. I think the creator economy has definitely changed things a lot for reviews. Like you could go read like an IGN or a Eurogamer or whatever and see what their score is, or you could actually go watch somebody play it live and see what their live thoughts are. And I think that's more powerful now for like a lot more people.
I think the difficulty with that is that that's still, it's very time consuming for somebody to find somebody's thoughts that they agree with.
No, and I agree. Again, like I say, I think there's a market for both sides. I think, like I say, the review scores are useful if somebody just wants a quick look, see one page, like a paragraph to say, is this game good or not? What's the score? Perfect. Move on. Other people will be like, all right, but what does it feel like to play? Like, what are the mechanics like? All those kind of things. Can I see somebody just doing that? That's more useful to me. And I think, I think the Metacritic, like, argue, like, I think people are weaponizing it a little bit. Of like trying to, they are trying to beat down games with like, oh look, it only got an 85 where the last one got an 87. It's like, what?
The problem is, and it's the tribalism between, you know, all of the fanboys, right? Which is ultimately, and you have to be honest, Microsoft, Sony come out with Spider-Man, it's probably going to be in the 90s. Yeah, and realistically, the only game that
is it. I don't know if it is. The first Spider-Man was it in the 90s?
Yeah, I know.
Okay, I'm just saying.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be in the 90s. And I'm not, again, I've not played the game. I don't know anything. I think it will. I do think there is a Nintendo bias, and I do think there is a Sony bias. And with Xbox, there just isn't. I do believe that. I believe that. That isn't. I'm not a fanboy. I own everything. Whatever. Just from what I've seen, observing the industry now for about 10 years, you know, like, but there's also a bigger love for Sony as a brand than there is for Xbox. And I'm talking about that across the industry. Like, when we go to events and stuff like that, like, you just see the Sony love is crazy compared to, and Nintendo as well, compared to Xbox. Remember, I've been doing this for like, how long have I done my Xbox and me, right? Like
429 weeks.
I remember me going, so whatever, how long is that in years?
I'm not doing
Like
that.
I go to events and I remember just like, oh, you're the Xbox guy. I'm like, yeah. And everyone else is just like, yeah, no, I play on PlayStation. Branding, clothing, da. And if you think that doesn't seep into like the everyday reviewer as well, it does. I don't care what anybody says, it does. Again, doesn't make it right, doesn't make it wrong. I'm not saying people are reviewing things poorly just because it's on Xbox, but I do think that there does come a time where there is a little bit of bias that come through. Clearly, Forza this year just isn't as good as it was last year.
I mean, I've had some
the
genuine
last
concerns.
one that came out. Yeah. Again, I've not watched reviews and stuff like that. Clearly, but do you still want a fantastic racing sim game? I'm sure Motorsport will fill that void perfectly. Still,
none of the reviews say the game's bad. It just
No.
doesn't live up to the past couple of Forza games, which have all been phenomenally well.
Yeah.
They've been on a roll with Forza for quite a while.
Like beating Horizon 5 is a tall ask for any game. Never mind an RPG specific one. I think the complaints I've heard about, like if we're just getting into the Forza stuff, I think it's very much the grind to unlock everything.
The leveling and stuff like that,
is not great.
Which
but
they've
again,
had problems with before. They've had problems with that before.
So hopefully they'll fix that. But yeah, I think to get back to Darkness's question, I think, are they a good idea or not anymore? I think yes, for the right audience. We should still have them. I don't think that's ever going to change. I personally, if I ever review anything, I never put a score on it because I prefer to give my opinions on the game rather than just like this is my good or is it good, is it bad, and nothing else. I generally like to have a more thought out discussion about it. But for the industry at large, I think it's still important to have these numbers. And there is an audience out there that finds it infinitely more useful to just go like, is it a 10? Is it a 1? Which way does it swing? Or wherever in between those, But we need that score to know is it good or not. And I think it'll always be there, and I think it'll always be useful.
I think the problem is just too many people base their opinions on other people's opinions.
Yeah,
that's the problem. And don't get me wrong, please keep doing that, otherwise we're out of a job.
Please.
No, but do you know what I mean? Like me, I check IGN reviews all of the time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't check who's reviewing it. I don't check because I don't really care. I just want to see what they've given the game.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm not basing my decision on whether I will play a game based off of, like, I remember people say that to me, like, I'm waiting for reviews to come out. I'm like, for what reason are you waiting? Like, if you're waiting to see if the game's broken or buggy or, like something specific, perfect, makes perfect sense.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, game you are excited for comes out and gets a 7, let's say, and not a 9, doesn't mean that you don't think it might be a 9 or a 10.
We've all had those moments where we play a game that is very clearly not on par. Like we were talking about Cyberpunk earlier. I would have rated Cyberpunk way higher than the industry would have at the point.
Same.
When you played it, yeah.
I still, even with all the bugs and stuff like that, I still really enjoyed what was there. It might have not deserved the rating that I got, but like if I had listened to reviewers, I wouldn't have touched the game at all, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, Baldur's Gate said 20 out of 10, so, and I've only put 20 hours into it.
Yeah.
But okay, put it this way, there's not a review that is out there right now that can understand how much I love this game. Yeah. A 10 out of 10 doesn't justify this game to me. Like, it's better than that. It's even better than that to me, So yeah, I do think numbers are important to answer the question. I still think they're important. I still think they play a huge role in our industry. So, and people like metrics. Please review the podcast 5 stars. Why do we say that? Because we like the fact that we got 5 stars. Just like game reviewers like the fact that they're gonna get a 10 out of 10, 9 out of 10, 8 out of 10.
Gives me a fuzzy feeling inside.
It does. That dopamine is huge. So yeah.
So review the podcast, yeah.
Please. We'll do this last one, boys, and then we'll go off from here. Stead says, from the last 2 weeks of podcasts, how do you prefer playing games? Matt's comments on usually playing less than 3 hours is pretty much the opposite of how I play. If I can't play at least bar what's FH5?
Forza Horizon.
Oh, Forza Horizon 5, where weeklies take 1 to 2 hours. Go on.
The exception of Forza
Yeah,
Horizon
yeah.
5.
Bar Forza Horizon 5. I generally don't even boot up if I can't play 3 hours plus. Instead, can I tell you, I almost had a heart attack when I heard Matt say that he plays games at 3 hours max. I almost had a nervous breakdown because I'm 100% with you. And I think that's why I've struggled to play games lately. And I think that's why I'm enjoying Baldur's Gate even more than I usually do. Again, I'm in a very, very different position to most people listening, let's be honest. I stream for a living, so that means I stream from anywhere between 6 hours a day to 8 to 12 hours a day. Like, it can vary, but that's my usual, is about 6 hours is my gaming session. If I can't put in a minimum of 3 hours, I wouldn't even bother booting up the game beforehand. I'm changing now because I'm getting older, and time is becoming a lot more valuable, and just finding time to put in, that I'm trying to kind of preparing myself for having a baby as well. I feel like this is how I'm playing Baldur's Gate is how I'm going to have to play every game soon. So, but yeah, I'm with you. At this moment in time, if I haven't got 3 hours, I think it's a waste of time to play the game. Like, I find it weird to message Kresh at this moment in time like I have been, which is like, do you want to jump on? How long do you want for? An hour. And Kresh is like, yeah, perfect. And I'm like, I thought he would say no. No, thank you. Like, an hour? I ain't got, that's not really. Because again, you got to remember our relationship starting off. We were playing games for 10 to 12 hours a day with each other. I saw Kresh more, or heard Kresh's voice more than I was spending time with Haley, like at one point in life. So, yeah, I'm very much that 3 hours is a minimum for me, not the maximum. So, yeah, that's where I'm at. What about you, Kresh?
I used to be a Fix. You've known me for a long time. I used to fiend on games. I used to play a lot. I don't do that too much.
No.
I have to like really find a game that like really, really pulls me in to want to play that much now. But I am very much so on a similar boat-ish to Matt, where I will say I'll generally get more than 3 hours, but I am around that like time frame. And if I can play an hour, I'm cool with playing an hour. I'm absolutely fine with booting up a game and playing for a little bit and then hopping off. That does not bother me whatsoever.
Nothing offends me more than playing Baldur's Gate for only an hour.
Well, Baldur's Gate's a little bit different because you, in an hour, you don't really accomplish anything. All you do is get in the middle of something.
Do. No, I disagree with you entirely. You do. Like, I generally, the way we've been playing, it's just like, we know, like, we're going to do this thing. Again, you got to remember, we're not that good at the game. Me and Haley are not that good at the game. You made that perfectly clear when you come and play with us. Like, we're like, you're like, boom, 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 and we're like, oh, shit, I didn't know you could do that. Like, how did that happen? Yeah. So for us, everything takes us about an hour. So it's like, yeah, no, I disagree. Sorry, carry on.
Okay.
Yeah, but I just, an hour of gaming to me is just like, is that it? Is that it?
Yeah. It's enough to be satisfied after an hour. I completed a mission. I did some side stuff. Maybe I'll end it wanting to play more, which I think is a positive as opposed to ending it with like being
positive.
done. Like, oh, I'm good with that. I'm good with the game right now.
Bro, I've not had. That's what I'm saying thing about Baldur's Gate right now, where it's like every day I'm feeling for more.
Yeah.
I haven't had a game like that in God knows how long, because I'm usually like 7 hours session. All right, oh god, I've got to do that all again tomorrow.
What were you like?
Okay.
I just wanted to clear it up.
Yeah. Despawn, what about you?
I wish I had 3 hours to play games. My situation is a little bit different from a lot of people, I think, because I'm trying to work 2 jobs at once at the moment. So yeah, trying to find time to have 3 hours a day. Like, I will try and set a day aside where I will just play games. I would love to. I will boot get like Assassin's Creed right now is a perfect example. I will load that game for 30 minutes. Just to try and do one mission or a couple of missions, just to keep chipping away at it where I've got the time. I would love to, like, back in the day, like, yeah, 100%, I would not, like, if I couldn't sit down for an afternoon to play a game, I wouldn't bother, really. But, yeah, nowadays, it's like, I'll just play games whenever I can. If I can get an hour in and that'll be enough for the day, fair enough. Cool, awesome. But yeah, no, I just really wish I could put the amount of time you guys are putting into Baldur's Gate. I'm missing Baldur's Gate. I've not touched it since, God, I can't remember. I don't think I've touched it since you started it. Let's put it that way. Since you've been doing the Haley and Kresh games, I don't think I've touched it once, and it's breaking my heart.
I've only played with Fix like 3 times.
Okay.
Majority of the time, you got like one time Fix messaged
Probably
me,
of our
and I didn't see until
Oh, bro.
like 4 or 5 hours later. I think it was more than that. And Fix was like, "Yeah, we're still on.
Still
We're gonna
going.
hop off soon."
Yeah, but
Yeah,
no,
but if you look at mine and Chris's messages right now, it is literally, "Yo,
Well,
jumping on if you want to play. Jumping on if you want to play." I feel like a annoyed ex-girlfriend that's just like, "Come on,
No,
get
no,
back with me, get back with me." I feel so
I
bad.
appreciate the
but-
messages.
Yeah.
But I've gotten to the point now where I'm like, "No, I'm messaging you. I don't care."
Yeah.
Like,
I
if
don't
you message
respond
back or
sometimes
not,
because I'm like,
you
I
don't
see
need
it
to.
so late, and it's like,
Yeah, you don't need to. But yeah, it's
So you're really just dropping those Baldur's booty calls on Kresh.
Oh,
yeah,
mate.
that's he's hitting me with the booty calls.
Here with the Baldur's booty.
It's so good. It's so good. Can't believe it. Yeah, I hope we answered. I hope we answered the question. Yeah. Instead, I think the difference is it all comes down to the person's life. I think is the important thing, right?
Mhm.
Like if you've got little kids, obviously it's different. If you've got a partner that enjoy it, like Baldur's Gate right now, right? Like I'm waiting for Haley to come home literally today. She's gone to a hen do. I've literally already messaged her like, "Yo, you coming home? We're playing Baldur's Gate. What are we doing?" She's like, "Depends on how tired I am." She's like, "If I'm good, we're playing. If not, you're gonna have to just be chill." I can imagine that's the exact same thing when you've got kids. Like, kid goes to bed early, you can get 3 hours in. Kid goes to bed late, you're only getting an hour in.
Yeah.
Like stuff
Yeah.
like that. I can imagine. Or Mrs. doesn't want to play games. She wants to watch TV, and that happens to me quite a lot.
And that's why you've got a
Yeah.
Steam Deck.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot. I'm going Vegas next week.
Mm-hmm.
What Steam game am I gonna play on the flight?
I mean, it's Baldur's Gate, right?
No, I can't. Well, no, because I can't. Haley can't play, can she?
Just buy her a Steam Deck.
You just gotta buy her a Steam Deck.
Yeah, but then we can't play online still.
You get Wi-Fi, you'll be fine.
Yeah, you
On the
hotspot your
I don't
phone.
have
Playing
on
Wi-Fi?
the plane.
Oh, you got no. You're right. You're right.
What are you guys on about?
Pay for the Wi-Fi, bro.
Yeah, just pay for the Wi-Fi, bro.
What do you think I'm rich?
Nah,
Pay
company
for the
credit card
Wi-Fi,
is fine.
bro. I didn't ask about your pockets, bro. I just said pay for the Wi-Fi.
Stop
Yeah,
pocket watching, all right? Stop pocket watching.
we got
no,
that.
we got to think of something, guys, that I can play on my Steam Deck. I want suggestions for next week.
Did you finish Punch Club?
Something. No, but
Did you start WrestleQuest?
What is that?
no, but
Oh,
WrestleQuest
perfect.
might-
I'm gonna say perfect sign that
WrestleQuest might
Kresh
not be a
doesn't watch
shout.
the show when he's not on it.
obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I don't.
We've talked about that game multiple times.
Yeah, no. All right, cool. Maybe I'll do that. All right, let's plug and get ourselves out of here. Kresh, what you got to plug this week?
Podcast reviews. We have not had a podcast review, at least the American side, since July 25th. We're way past July. I just want at least one review before the new year. That's not too much.
Yeah, that ain't too much to ask. I'm not gonna lie. Do you know what?
New review.
We got one?
Review!
Let's go.
Holy this is my plug this week.
Okay, let's go.
Great show. 5 stars. From Mike C727.
We see you, Mike.
Great show. Came across this a while back after hearing Fixer on Unlocked, and is great to hear an Xbox podcast from a mix of hosts from the UK and the US. Show is definitely a great blend of both relaxed fun while still getting great information on all things Xbox. The podcast is a must listen if you're into gaming. Great show, guys. Ooh, let's go UK! Yeah, UK.
Suck it,
We know
America.
Disgusting.
we know
I
how
hate
we know how patriotic you guys are. Prove me wrong.
I'm
Yeah.
an incredibly patriotic person.
Thank you for the
Oh, listeners,
thank you for the
American
review.
listeners might be patriotic. Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys want to beat the UK, right?
Thank you for the review, Mike. We do appreciate it. Wow. Oof. Oh man, that's got me going for the rest of the week.
That's
That
it.
was a good. Ooh.
There's that fuzzy little
Ah.
feeling I wanted.
There you go. 5-star as well. Not even a 4.5. Let's be honest. Not even a 4.5.
Damn.
These one we got to plug this week.
Let's just be shameless about it. I've dropped new merch. Merch.despawn.co.uk. Go check it out. Look, I'll show you for the video users. It's a big red hoodie, and there's other stuff as well, like loads of colors. Big old back print for, the sexiness. Never stop playing. It's great. Go check it out. Merch.despawn.co.uk.
Okay, make sure you go cop. Make sure you go cop it. Yeah, man. Thank you all for watching. Matt should be back soonish. I believe me, Matt, and Despawn should be seeing each other next week, which is
Yeah, me too. Just by the entrance, if you guys wait.
To the left or to the right.
Just wait. Don't go in without me, because I'm
no,
we
would never.
Angry, but just wait for me.
Oh, I don't want an angry Kresh. I'll wait. Yeah, I'll wait.
Yeah. I'd be way worse than I was this morning. So just respect me a little bit and wait.
Yeah, so you should see at least a photo of us together. We're gonna try and do some content, but we'll see. I'll be honest, I don't know. We haven't planned it. We should do a live, but we should do a podcast.
I was gonna say you guys should do a live 3.
Should we get in touch with we'll get in touch with EGX and get to give us like a 2-hour panel, and then
I've applied so many times. They don't. No.
EGX, what the hell, man? We're cool. Look at us.
Yeah.
We got beards and everything.
That's what cool people say. Look at us. We're cool.
Beards and glasses.
I know, right?
We're the best. We're the best. All right, boys. Until next time, we'll love you. Leave it. See you all later. Good boy.